Pirates Fire Dragon Roar Chapter 621-640. Chapter 621 Battle Kaido. In a certain sea area in the New World, a huge fleet rides the wind and waves. This fleet is like exuding some irresistible magic, and there is no trace of the other pirate ships in the surrounding waters. It seems that everyone is avoiding this fleet subconsciously. This is also a matter of course. This fleet is not an ordinary pirate fleet, but a large fleet of the Beast's pirates, the pirate fleet commanded by the world's strongest creature, Kaido of the Beasts. As long as it is pirates with long eyes will consciously take the initiative to avoid this fleet, which is not a force that ordinary pirates can face. Neat. The monster-like man sat cross-legged on the ground, holding a huge gourd in his right hand, pouring 2 sips of wine into his mouth from time to time, and holding a newspaper in the other hand. Vegapunk. Damn, that old guy was actually caught by the fire dragon. The veins on Kaido's forehead burst out, and he looked very terrifying. Damn it. That kid. Actually. Boss, don't be angry. On one side, the man leaning on the side of the boat smiled. It would be better if we were robbed by the fire dragon and then we can get it back. Well. Kaido turned his head. That's right, I'll take it back if I was robbed. That darn boy of Huolong has done a good deed too. Take that immortal Vegapunk out of the government. To thank him. But, boss, the trouble is. The name is Jin, the right and left hand of Kaido of the Beasts, the leader of the Beast Pirates. The man leaning on the side of the ship looked a little troubled. We don't know where the fire dragon is. Don't know. Kaido exclaimed, as long as we keep moving forward like this, that kid will soon appear in front of us. Oh, is that so? Jin looked overjoyed. Boss wise. A proper look of a dog's legs. The 4 Emperor Pirates have different structures. The Whitebeard Pirates are a family relationship between father and son, the Big Mom Pirates are a blood relationship between mother and son, and the Red Hair Pirates and Vlad's Fire Dragon Pirates are very orthodox. Partnership. When it comes to the Beast Pirates, the interesting thing is that Kaido's subordinates are all his loyal admirers. Although he is a reckless man like Kaido, there are still a large number of people who worship his younger brother because of his unrivaled strength. This is the basis for the establishment of the Beast Pirates. A group of lawless guys deeply worship Kaido's powerful power, and thus the Beast Pirates were established. Well. Kaido's head suddenly lifted and his eyes widened. Yeah. Jin also noticed something was wrong. A shadow had already covered the big ship. That is. Jin's eyes widened. An island. In the sky, a huge island slowly descended from the sky, rolling towards the pirate fleet below. Slowly, Kaido stood up from the ground. Is that kid finally here? Boss, do you mean the fire dragon is coming? Jin was stunned. Who else could it be? Kaido raised his head and looked up at the huge island above. He was not at all afraid that the island would fall and wipe out his fleet. He disdainfully said, do you think you can fight Lao Su if you defeat that old woman? Hey, it's just right. Jin smiled. Didn't you just want to find him? Just brought it to your door. Humph. Kaido threw the newspaper aside and groaned. Yo. The huge island did not continue to fall, and stopped quietly above the Beast Pirates, and then drifted back to let the large fleet escape from the shadow of the island. Then, Kaido saw that on the island's shadow, on the edge, sitting a leisurely man with his legs swaying. Kaido, long time no see. Little devil. Kaido clenched his fists tightly. The guy, he looked like a man he would never forget for the rest of his life, who was chased around by him 2 years ago, but now he has climbed to the same height as him. How dare you appear in front of Lao Su? Is there something wrong? Vlad smiled and looked unscrupulous. Even in the past, he had never been afraid of anyone, let alone now. Could it be that you can do anything to me? Damn boy. Kaido has never been a sensible guy. He bent his legs and jumped, like a missile out of water, soaring into the sky and jumping directly towards the island in the sky. Hey. Jin's body on the big ship shook, and the force generated by Kaido's stepping on the ship could easily shake the big ship. Wow, what a great jump. Vlad smiled and looked at Kaido, who was pounced on him. Little devil. Kaido roared, his right fist clenched, and the huge fist was already slamming towards Vlad. Yeah. Vlad smiled and stretched out his right hand. Well. The huge fist has already slammed towards Vlad's body, but Kaido's expression suddenly changed. Vlad's hand has been pressed on his fist. A powerful force blooms from Vlad's hand, pushing Kaido's body to the side. The direction of Kaido's fist was abruptly changed, and it slammed into the ground next to him. The terrifying force instantly shattered the edge of the island, and then Kaido's body rolled directly into the island behind under the action of strong inertia, bringing a trail of smoke and dust. Really? The ground collapsed, and Vlad fell instantly, but immediately, dark red wings had stretched out from behind him. His body and technology were high, and a dark red dragon man had appeared above the sky. Still as reckless as ever. Vlad chuckled. Hey, fire dragon. The trees in front of them collapsed one by one, and the earth-shattering monsters had come out of the forest, and he pulled up a giant tree blocking the way. Kaido strode over. Vegapunk, that immortal, is there with you. Quote. Well. Vlad landed gently on the ground, nodded, yes. Him. Kaido rolled his eyes. Give it to me. Boom. Ground suddenly shattered. Kaido stomped heavily on the ground, and his body turned into a shadow and charged towards Vlad. Although he said let me give it to you. Vlad smiled and stretched out his hands. Isn't the result giving me no time to think about it? Boom. The two fists slammed together. Dash 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 dash. The boss's opponent is the fire dragon, and then. Jin's eyes are a little dignified, but his face is full of fanaticism. My opponent is you, right? Ahead, a huge fire-red pirate ship poked its head into the void. On the ship, the officers of the Fire Dragon Pirates and the Whitebeard Pirates all assembled. Tisk, this scale. Jin licked the corner of his mouth. It's amazing. Chapter 622. A man's time can't be long. Boom. Smoke and dust are everywhere, thick trees are scattered like weeds in the strong shock wave, the ground is even more overwhelmed, huge stones and fine dust are flying around in the air. The battle between the two monsters shook the sky and the earth. The whole island was shaking and cracking. The battle had not started long, and the island under my feet had already begun to fall apart. The ability of the floating fruit was brought over from a distance, and if the power of the floating fruit was used to forcibly gather this island, with the destructive power of him and Kaido, no stage could withstand their battle. Bastard kid. The ground sank easily, obviously it was just moving. That is, the foot stepped on the ground, but the impact was like a huge artillery bombarding the ground, and a huge stone behind was instantly blasted into the sky. A huge void suddenly appeared. Such astonishing destructive power, the recoil force produced is of course extremely strong. The man who is extremely tall and like a monster has turned into a phantom and charged straight towards his opponent. The air was violently torn open and emitted the overwhelmed voice. The violent wind only reacted after his body rushed out all the way, and then formed. Oh yo. Vlad smiled. The old god was standing there, watching helplessly as Kaido's huge body was basically equal to him and sprinted in front of him. The huge fist wrapped around armament, so terrifying, it was enough to easily collapse the mountains. The punch that sank the land had already hit him. It's amazing. Vlad opened his mouth slowly. He was obviously huge but as gentle as catkins in the wind. He easily avoided Kaido's punch while sideways. The flames on his right fist were already entangled. A heavy blow. The punch hit Kaido in the head. Boom. Of smoke and dust went away. Kaido's huge body had been blown away by Vlad directly, knocking off an unknown number of trees, knocking down an unknown number of hills, and disappearing in front of Vlad in a din. Sure enough. With a faint smile on Vlad's face, sure enough, it's the best thing to fight a tank-type opponent like Kaido. It is indeed a skill that can already be called cheating, just like Katakuri's foreseeing the future. When he is in close combat, he is able to calmly dodge any attack that does not exceed his physical limit. It's a bit of a chore to deal with high-speed AoE players like Kizaru, but it's naturally invincible to deal with guys like Kaido who are close-handed and punched. Little devil. Without the slightest delay, the moment after being blasted by Vlad, Kaido's body has not stabilized, and he has rushed towards Vlad again. Tisk. Vlad smacked his lips. What a tough guy. Kaido of the Beasts, one of the 4 emperors who ruled the New World, a real monster exists. Long, long ago, the name of this monster's strongest creature has rang in the sea. A heads up, of course Kaido wins. Everyone says so. No one can kill Kaido, this is the consensus of everyone. This is the 3rd time Vlad has recognized this guy's characteristics, only the name, not the wrong nickname, that's the reason. Not to mention that it can't kill him, even leaving an effective damage on him is a difficult thing. It is a terrifying body, with extremely strong muscles. Even without using haki, it can easily shatter the axe blade of execution. Its strength is astonishing, and it can sink the ground at any time. A big hole can also recover quickly, and the recovery gummies made by Paso are not even worthy of his shoes. It's really hard to imagine, how can you do it if you want to kill this guy? At least Vlad now feels like he can't do it. Scoff. Gently bowing his head, he let go of Kaido's full-strength punch again, and the turbulent fist wind instantly blew away all the forest behind Vlad, leaving only the bare land. Rising Dragon. Vlad shouted loudly, his arm was wrapped in a layer of shining light, and the huge fist had slammed into Kaido's chin. Boom. A terrifying explosion occurred, the raging flames spread, everything around was instantly scorched, and Kaido was directly blasted into the sky. Vlad didn't look too happy. Of course he knew that such an attack would have no effect on Kaido. That monster was much more difficult to deal with than Charlotte Linlin. Tisk. Observation haki is not enough again. Vlad looked a little distressed. After his awakening, his strength has improved by leaps and bounds. He already has a powerful combat power that can be called the 4 Emperors, and even slightly surpasses it. However, it is not enough. Now observation haki is not enough. If it is used normally, of course there is no problem, but if it is used freely, the loss will be too great, and the observation haki that was completely enough is not enough. Vlad needs time, and it takes time to increase the amount of observation haki to a level that can support him to open the free extreme battle for a long time. After all, observation haki has only been promoted to this level for a few months, and the time is too short. Rad still needs time to accumulate, and the duration of a man cannot be short. Well, to deal with a guy like Kaido anyway, you don't need to keep turning on your freedom. Vlad smiled, the flames had begun to surround him, and the Jurong mode had been turned on. Huge sound waves came from the sky, the violent wind blew from top to bottom, the surrounding ground smoke spread everywhere, and the monsters had already fallen from the sky. Hey! Vlad smiled, the 3 pairs of wings on his back shook heavily, and a stronger wind blew out in an instant, but in an instant, his body had appeared above the sky and faced Kaido. Boom! The 2 fists slammed together heavily, the white clouds above the sky were directly smashed by the strong shock wave, the purple-black electric arc jumped in the air, and the air was trembling, as if everything was shaking because of the 2 people fighting. Same. Little devil. Kaido roared, and a heavy punch hit Vlad's chest. Taking the initiative to cancel the blessing of Zizai Extreme, Vlad finally no longer misses under normal circumstances. At the moment when Kaido threw his fist, a layer of flame armor had covered Vlad's body, coupled with a layer of pitch-black haki defense. Even Kaido's hard punch only made Vlad feel a strong painful level. At the same time, Vlad's whip leg also slammed into Kaido's waist, and the calf exudes an extremely dazzling light, shining brighter than the sun in the sky. Boom! A gust of wind blew into the sky, and the flames spread everywhere. Kaido like a falling meteor. The heavy bombardment hit the ground, and the thick cracks spread. The island that was originally torn apart is now directly shattered. At the same time, Kaido is like volcanic ash when a volcano erupts, soaring into the sky and flying directly into the distant sky. Chapter 623 Drug. Kaido, quote. At the moment when it was blasted into the ground, the smoke and dust had not yet landed, and the huge figure had already risen into the sky, carrying a huge amount of dust. Vlad's face has a mad smile, and it is the fight with Kaido that is the most enjoyable. Bring the Vegapunk. The sky, a huge black shadow fell from the sky, and the monster Kaido fell from the sky like a mountain topping down, his eyes widened, and a huge voice whistled out of his mouth. Leave it to me. If you want. Vlad smiled, the flames extended from his back, and the 9 huge fire dragons took shape in an instant, and they rushed towards Kaido above the sky with their teeth and claws. Come and try it. Stop being arrogant. Kaido roared, and with one hand he directly grabbed the teeth of the one of the fire dragons at the head, and threw it hard. The slender fire dragon was like a whip being swung by him with ease, and he directly slapped the other 2 fire dragons heavily. The 3 fire dragons cracked instantly, and a violent explosion occurred. Tisk! Vlad smacked his lips, and the remaining 6 fire dragons were instantly transformed. They had no substance, just pure flames, and slammed directly on Kaido's body. In an instant, Kaido has been wrapped in flames, facing the flames that Vlad has evolved. Even Kaido's monster-like body is instantly ripped apart. Go away for me. Kaido roared extremely impatiently, and waved his hands violently. A strong wind was formed, and the dragon of flames was instantly blown away by the wind, revealing Kaido himself, who had been ripped apart and healed at a high speed. Hey! The moment the flames receded, Vlad's tall figure appeared in front of him. Boom! The fiery temperature emanated from Vlad's fist, and the terrifying flame gathered on his arm. Touch of hell! A heavy punch hit Kaido's chest directly. Chi-chi-chi-chi-chi-chi. It's like the sound of a flaming soldering iron sticking to pork. Even better, Vlad's fist has been sunk into Kaido's chest, and the terrifying high temperature scorched the internal organs in Kaido's chest wantonly. Ha! Vlad gave a low drink, and the flames spread from his hands in an instant. Boom! However, at this moment, Kaido's fist had already slammed into his face. Oops! A scream of pain, Vlad's head slumped and tilted, and Kaido's powerful punch directly made Vlad's head turn white. Damn boy! The pain did not slow Kaido in the slightest, but stimulated his ferocity, and the second fist had already slammed towards Vlad. Don't think about it. Out of his body, and instantly turned into tentacles that wrapped around Kaido's arm directly. The entity, but the terrifying high temperature actually still exists. What? Kaido was taken aback. It's true that after Vlad's flames are turned into entities, the intensity is not too high, but if armament hockey is added, it will of course be different. Hey! Vlad smiled, dozens of flame arms emerged from behind, and his body had already bullied Kaido. Ola 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 ola. Fists, overwhelming, continuous fists, bombarded Kaido's chest one after another, with strong force and amazing high temperature. Vlad's fists easily left deep marks on Kaido's body one by one. Ah! A loud roar. Kaido is Kaido after all. When Vlad fought hard, and the ferocious whip leg slammed into Vlad's waist, Vlad screamed and was directly blasted out. Amount. Frowning, Vlad looked helpless. He didn't mean to flap his wings, and fell directly to the ground. Trouble. Lying on the ground, Vlad muttered to himself, bone is broken. Ah! A huge figure fell from the sky, Kaido roared, and smashed directly at Vlad. Om! The wings behind Vivi vibrated, and the body had suddenly disappeared, appearing in the distance. Boom! The ground sank suddenly, and the huge land fell into pieces in an instant. It really can't be beaten to death. Vlad was a little disillusioned. It was really uncomfortable to fight with such an opponent. The fight was very enjoyable, but it was very embarrassing. The recovery ability was terrible. Fire Dragon. Among the dust, the sound of Kaido's heavy footsteps spread out, and the heavy breathing had formed a breeze to disperse the dense smoke. Vegapunk the Immortal. The body has begun to recover. The big hole in Kaido's chest that was punched by Vlad has grown new flesh, and the mark that was bombarded by the flaming fist on his body has completely healed. Where the hell is it? Me is really a completely incomprehensible resilience. Vlad smacked his lips. This kind of recovery ability is not something that can be done by ordinary means at all. Even if the recovery is strong, the strength is still amazing, a genuine monster. Forget it, then don't fight. Vlad said so. Vegapunk. Kaido roared and charged directly at Vlad. Where? Vlad narrowed his eyes and took out a small syringe from his trousers pocket. Tisk, this task is not something that ordinary guys can accomplish. Damn brat. The huge fist brushed past Vlad's ears, and the gust of wind brought by the terrifying power even made Vlad's scaly face a little painful. However, this blow did not hit. Well, I've recovered a bit. Vlad smiled, and the ease unfolded again, easily dodging Kaido's blow. So, take it. Vlad smiled. The syringe in his hand had been wrapped in a layer of powerful haki, and he stabbed straight into the hole in Kaido's chest that he had punched out before and had recovered most of it. PFF'd. The needle of the syringe had plunged into Kaido's chest. As Vlad himself said, this kind of thing is not something that can be done by just one person. The average opponent Kaido will be beaten into patties with 3 punches and 2 kicks. Kaido's body is equally tyrannical. Even if he can approaching Kaido, haki is not strong enough to even break his body, let alone inject drugs. However, Vlad can do such a thing. Well. Kaido was stunned for a moment, already feeling something flowing into his body through the syringe. He turned around suddenly, and punched Vlad in the head. Whoosh. Vivi flapped his wings. The syringe was still stuck in Kaido's chest, and Vlad had soared into the sky. Hey. Vlad smiled. Mission accomplished. The battle is over. Remember this book domain name. Mobile version reading website. Chapter 624 Gift to the Government. What did you do? Kaido's complexion was as gloomy as water, and his deep voice contained unprecedented violence. Little devil, what have you done? The old god Vlad hovered in the sky, wrapped his arms around his hands, with a playful smile on his face. What did you do? Well, it's nothing, it's just that there have been too many fights recently, and some don't want to fight anymore. Quote. For Vlad, there has been a lot of fighting recently. Before the war, he rushed into the New World, briefly fought with the red-haired Kaido, and then rushed to the big prison without stopping, liberated the prisoners and turned over the jailer, and rushed directly afterward. Marineford, go to war with Marine headquarters. Not long after the fight, I rushed to the New World to fight with the BIGMOM pirates. He had a fierce fight with Charlotte Linlin, and before he could catch his breath, bad news came from the rear, and the base camp was invaded, so Vlad immediately flew back to the Paradise, and with Marine headquarters Admiral Kizaru came again won. Then I rushed back to the New World, and now I am playing against Kaido again. This period of time can be said to be quite busy. After one battle after another, Uncle Vlad felt very tired. After that, there was a final battle with the Whitebeard pirates. The change of the old and new 4 emperors was an absolutely indispensable battle. Vlad really felt very tired. Didn't want to fight Kaido anymore, and there was no result in the fight. Before finding a way to break Kaido's immortality, Vlad didn't want to fight with this guy anymore. His body was tired and his heart was even more tired. Just that. Kaido shook his head and said solemnly, "What is it? What is it?" Vlad smiled. "Isn't that the man you've been thinking about, what Dr. Vegapunk made just for you?" Vegapunk. Kaido frowned. Vegapunk. That bastard. Roaring like this, Kaido jumped away and lunged directly at Vlad. Oh yo yo. Vlad screamed strangely, flapped his wings gently, and his body had easily avoided Kaido's attack. Even at such a distance, even if he didn't feel at ease, with Vlad's speed, he wanted to avoid Kaido's attack. Not a big deal. Don't get excited, don't get excited. Vlad smiled, the more excited you are, the faster the medicine will work. Efficacy. Well. Kaido's body swayed, and an extremely strong sleepiness suddenly surged. What the hell is this? Don't get excited, little Kaido. Vlad smiled, just a drug to get you a good night's sleep. It's not a great drug. Kaido's body is a bug, not to mention ordinary physical attacks. Even if it is poison, he also has extremely powerful resistance, and the strongest creature is not a false name. However, things like sleeping pills are not necessarily ineffective. The sleeping pills specially designed by Vegapunk and specially designed for Kaido himself are difficult to resist even by monsters like Kaido. Damn. Kaido's huge body was shaky, and his eyes were almost closed. Look at it. Vlad spread his hands and smiled. I just said that the more intense the exercise, the faster the effect of the medicine. I don't believe that this is how I ended up. Vegapunk. Kaido yelled, Vegapunk. All right. Wings easily, avoiding Kaido's final attack. Vlad smiled, stop struggling, little Kaido, do you want your father Vlad to sing you a lullaby? It's better to sleep in peace. Damn guy. To himself like this, Kaido was finally unable to resist the surging sleepiness, his eyes suddenly closed, and his body began to fall backwards. Oh. Be careful. Vlad waved his left hand, and the ground behind Kaido suddenly swelled, dragging Kaido gently, as if he was really dealing with a baby. Call. Vlad breathed a sigh of relief and wiped the non-existent cold sweat on his forehead. Scared me. It's not good to wake up baby Kaido. Well, speaking of it, it's really worthy of Kaido, even if it's a drug specially made by the doctor for you. Vlad gently landed in front of Kaido. His body had returned to human form, and suddenly changed from the height of looking up at Kaido to the size of looking up at Kaido, which was really uncomfortable. Even so, does it just put you in a sleep state? Vlad waved his left hand lightly, and the soil and rocks on the ground began to change instantly, covering Kaido's body, and soon he wrapped Kaido tightly, with only one head exposed. Although doctor's medicine can make Kaido fall asleep, it is only limited to that. It can only make him fall asleep. Vegapunk himself said that as long as Kaido is attacked, even if it is not fatal, the biological instinct of the guy will also explode in an instant, directly out of the sleep state. Vlad was also helpless. But. A playful smile appeared on Vlad's face. I will feel helpless, and of course others will feel helpless too, right? Hey. Vlad smiled, and with a light move with his left hand, the huge earth ball had gently floated in front of him. Condition 1. Vlad opened his left hand and pressed it on the soil ball. You must reach the point where you can lock the target by touching others. Condition 2. Vlad gently pushed the earth ball with his left hand, whoosh. With a soft sound, the huge earth ball rose directly into the sky, flew towards the sky, and disappeared far above the sky. It must be used throwing things out with your own hands, or the act of throwing. Quote. Raising his head and looking at the invisible earth ball, Vlad smiled. In this case, all the conditions have been fulfilled. Ha! Vlad spread out his left hand, looked at the black ring on his palm, and smiled. The coordinates left when I beat Kizaru before, and now it's just in use. Hey, target fruit, it's really useful. Needless to say, the ring that Vlad wore on his hand was of course the ring that held the target fruit ability that he had snatched from Vanderdecken X when he was on Fishman Island. Now that Kizaru guy is still in the hospital in Mariajoy, right? Hey. Vlad smiled. That's right, pick it up. Government guys. My special courier. Remember to give me a 5-star review for this great gift. Chapter 625 Kaido Airborne. The sea is already a mess. The battle is over. The battle between the Fire Dragon Pirates, the Whitebeard Pirates, and the Beast Pirates is over. The huge wreckage of the ship was soaked in the sea water and sank slowly towards the bottom of the sea. The flames tangled and grew wantonly on it, and the choking smoke spread from above to the sky. The blood spreads on the sea, and the dense corpses spread on the sea like duckweed in a pond. This place is a battlefield, and the battlefield is of course killing people. These are the dead who lost their lives because of the war. Hoo-hoo. On the deck of the fire-red pirate ship floating in the sky, with his upper body naked, Fire Fist Ace, the captain of the 2nd Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, lay on the deck with some strength, panting heavily. Ha 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 ha. However, although there are many wounds on his body, and even though he feels very tired even if he moves his hands now, this man is smiling, laughing, and he is very happy. Really happy. Ha ha, this time I finally defeated the beast pirates. What a terrifying ability. With bandages on his body, Marco, who was sitting on the side of the boat, looked at the woman opposite, Miss Musician of the Fire Dragon Pirates, whose name was Herrick Serena. Yes. Next to Marco, Foil Vista, who was eating silently with a chicken leg in his hand, smiled. What a powerful ability. Such an ability is really terrifying in a large-scale battle. Serena's ability is the fruit of paramesha resonance, the ability to make others resonate with their own emotions, and the ability to easily distort people's minds through music as a carrier. Miss Serena has been able to easily distort the will of the enemies on the entire battlefield, making them full of hostility towards their partners. Where? Miss Serena looked a little shy. You guys from the Whitebeard Pirates are really amazing. Just like Miss Serena showed amazing strength, the members of the Whitebeard Pirates also showed terrifying strength. In the battle against the Beast Pirates, the Whitebeard Pirates' fighting power is also clear. Presented in front of the Fire Dragon Pirates. It is indeed the title of the strongest pirate group in the Blue Sea. Even though it suffered huge trauma in the previous top battle, even so, the remaining combat power of the Whitebeard Pirates is still at an astonishing level. Definitely not to be underestimated. Serena realized so clearly. Hey, but, is it okay not to continue the pursuit? Enel, who was sitting leisurely on the side of the boat with his legs dangling, said, only one Quinn died in the 3 disasters. Although the fleet under his command suffered heavy casualties, Jin and Jack are still fine. Hey, bye. The strength of the beast pirates hasn't been hurt too much yet. It's okay. Sitting on the ground, the chef leaning on the side of the boat shook his head and said with a smile, as long as the man Kaido is still alive, the beast pirates will not disperse. Besides, now is not the time to let the beasts retire. The maid said from the side, until we have the power to really sweep everything, let's keep the beast pirates active. As you like. Enel smiled and stopped talking. Yo, looks like it's over on your side too. Suddenly, above the sky, a bold voice came, it's not bad. Captain. Chef smiled, have you done it over there too? Yeah. Gently landed on the ground, Vlad regained his human form, with a faint smile on his face, it's done. Although Kaido is difficult to deal with, fortunately, the medicine made by the doctor is still very useful. Really? Cook asked, what about the others? Vlad smiled and looked up at the sky. On the way to a long trip. Hey, great travel location. The time has come to the 2nd day. It has been a day since the 3-way battle of the Whitebeard Pirates of the Beast Pirates and the Fire Dragon Pirates. The news of this war has already spread all over the world. As everyone imagined, the combined forces of the Fire Dragon Pirates and the Whitebeard Pirates possessed a strength that could not be resisted by a single team of the Beast Pirates. Fire Dragon Vlad and Kaido of the Beasts left the battlefield and started a fierce battle. The outcome was unknown, but the final result was that the Fire Dragon could calmly have a banquet with the Whitebeard Pirates that night, but Kaido of the Beasts was mysterious. Missing, the trace is unknown, it is very likely that the Fire Dragon Vlad won the victory. At the same time, the battle beyond the highest combat power of the two sides also came to an end quickly, and the combat power of the combined army that brought together the two powerful pirate regiments was no longer something that the pirate fleet commanded by the 3 disasters could compete with. The Beast's pirates were defeated, and Quinn, the leader of the pirates and one of the 3 disasters, died in a duel with the Phoenix Marco. The Beast's fleet was almost wiped out, and the Beast's pirates suffered dozens of biggest failure in years. Here, the great turmoil in the New World caused by the fall of Whitebeard and the fall of the Whitebeard pirates to the throne finally began to come to an end. The fall of the old emperor is accompanied by the rise of the new emperor. The battle for the rise of the Fire Dragon pirates includes itself a situation involving the four emperor pirates, 100 beasts, BIGMOM, Whitebeard, Fire Dragon, and the New World has finally begun to become clear. The Dragon Pirates have indeed replaced Whitebeard as the new pole of the New World. Ah, you've beaten that lunatic Kaido off so quickly. Location was in a ward in Mariajoy, where a man in a red suit was sitting on a chair with a cigar in his mouth and a newspaper in his hand. The threat assessment for fire dragons has to be improved again. Hello, Akainu. On the bed opposite Akainu, the man with a bandage on his head looked troubled. Don't smoke in front of the patient, okay? Shut up, you bastard. Akainu said unceremoniously, do you know how passive you are making the government right now? Oh, I didn't mean to, either. The middle-aged man leaning on the head of the bed said slowly, with a very rude look, bring back all the scientists, this is the government's decision. HMPH, say what you want. Akainu snorted unhappily. Well. Akainu frowned, and there was a commotion outside. Is there something in the sky? Flying here. What's that? Soil ball. Shoot it down. Shoot it down. Boom. Cannons roared. What? Akainu walked to the window, just in time to see a figure falling from the sky to the ground. That is. The pupils contracted suddenly. Fire Dragon bastard. The roar spreads out. Chapter 626 Sad Kaido. Mariajoy, the seat of the world government, the gathering place of the world noble Tenryubito, the center of justice, the apex of the world, the place where all the people in the world are watching. Every order from this place will have an indescribable effect on the pattern of the world. www. However, it is not that Mariajoy has not been invaded. Even such a place has been invaded. 13 years ago, Fishman Fisher Tiger climbed up the incomparably tall red soil continent with his bare hands and sneaked into the Mariajoy, who wreaked havoc in this place, freed numerous slaves. The second time happened 3 years ago, when Vlad, one of the current 4 emperors, invaded Mariajoy when he was still a little-known fire dragon, and the purpose is still unknown, maybe as he said, just to have some fun, but that the consequences of an invasion were huge. The gathering place of Tenryubito was directly burned to a piece of white ground, and the whole world was stunned. The level of this incident was so amazing that the government had to directly distort the information to prevent information leakage. Then, today, this place, Mariajoy, finally ushered in the third invasion. The beautiful buildings are crying helplessly, and the guardians here can only watch the destruction happen, just because the invaders are. Damn, what's going on? The huge conference hall, here is the apex of world power, where the Gorosei, 5 elders are, and between the powers, every discussion that happens here has a huge impact on the direction of this world. A long Whitebeard stood in front of the huge French window, looking at the distant dust and smoke, and said in a low voice, how did that bastard come here? In just a short time, Mariajoy is in a mess again. Really? Trouble, Tenryubito is protesting again. I was still in the middle of a fierce battle with the fire dragon, but just one night's kung fu actually appeared in Mariajoy. It's not right, it's definitely not right. The bald Gorosei, 5 elders. It's the fire dragon that guy did it. The 5 elders with the sword in their arms said casually, everyone knows how difficult this man Kaido is to deal with, and it is absolutely impossible for the fire dragon to kill him. So why don't you just use unknown means to bring disaster to the east? Blonde Gorosei, 5 elders said unhappily, that bastard, fire dragon, has a really good calculus. So what to do with this guy? The bearded Gorosei, 5 elders asked, arrest. What do you catch it for? The bald Gorosei, 5 elders shook his head, not to mention that Impel Down is still being rebuilt. Even if Impel Down is still intact, there is no prison in the world that can hold that guy. Isn't that something that has been known for a long time? Unkillable, can't be closed, even we can't help that guy. Damn Vegapunk. The bearded Gorosei, 5 elders said angrily. After all, he shouldn't have been allowed to spend so many years at sea. If he had been recruited into the government sooner, there would have been less of a problem. What's the use of talking about it now? That bastard Vegapunk is already on the dragon's side. Blonde Gorosei, 5 elders said, abandon the government without hesitation. Get P0 ready. As soon as you can't get Vegapunk back, just kill him. Speaking of fire dragons. Bald Gorosei, 5 elders said thoughtfully, he has continuously repelled Big and the Beasts, won the battle with the 2-4 Emperor Pirates, and has firmly established himself as a new leader. The position of the Sea Emperor, however, brought the humiliation of Kaido and Charlotte Linlin. Neither Kaido nor Charlotte Linlin will give up. So, Gorosei, 5 elders, who were holding the sword, condensed. You mean, will they join forces to deal with the fire dragon? That's right. Bald Gorosei, 5 elders nodded and said worriedly, just like that time, will they join forces again? Stop being silly. The bearded Gorosei, 5 elders reprimanded, that pirate group is already over, and even if it's still there, it's nothing. Kaido and Charlotte Linlin are not the same as they used to be, they were fighting in the New World not long ago. The relationship is not what it used to be for a long time, and these two guys can't do such a thing when they join hands again for a hairy boy. Boom. The roar came from a distance, and the battle continued. Having said all that, what the hell is Kaido going to do? Blonde Gorosei, 5 elders said solemnly, the battle is almost over. Teach him a good lesson. Sword-wielding Gorosei, 5 elders said, then let him go. With Kaido's personality, once he returns to the New World, he will never let go of that fellow fire dragon. Let them bite the dog. Second. Then it's decided. The bearded Gorosei, 5 elders made the final call, notify empty. On the other hand, the battle continues. Battlefield has been separated from Mariajoy, which is the seat of the government, and of course the battle cannot be allowed to take place here. Damn it. Kaido's current appearance is extremely miserable, half of his body is covered with frost, half of his body is full of scalds, his skin is cracked, and there are several deep holes on his body. Did that kid actually send Lao Su here? Era, do you want to continue fighting? Tall, thin man with half of his body turned into ice block said softly, Kaido of the Beasts, although I don't know the reason for your invasion of Mariajoy, but you should probably realize it. You have no chance of winning. Cut, ice block kid. Kaido's mouth twitched, are you threatening Lao Su? Wow, that's horrible, really, Kuzan. Bandages still wrapped around his head, Kizaru's voice was indeed full of anger, you bastard, you pissed him off. The world's strongest creature, Kaido of the Beasts, you pissed off this monster. Stop talking nonsense. With lava flowing on his right arm, the man with a very serious expression said solemnly, what else can I say to the enemy? Resolve him. Fix me. Kaido froze for a moment, then laughed, if you can do it. Boom. The ground burst open, and Kaido rushed towards Akainu opposite him like a train. Let's try it out. Boom. The two fists slammed together directly. Kaido is so powerful that it can easily knock down the iron fist of the mountain and the magma fist that is as violent as the eruption of Akainu volcano. Ah, forget us again. The moment Kaido and Akainu were punching, Kuzan was already close to Kaido's body like an ice skating moment, and his hand was already on Kaido's leg. Ka-la-la-la. White ice block began to spread on Kaido's body. Damn it. Kaido was instantly furious, the veins on his arms burst out, and his strength exploded, which directly shook Akainu, and punched Kuzan with a heavy punch. Oh, this can't be done. Pew. A sharp sound, the fiery laser hit Kaido's arm instantly, leaving a deep hole in it. Damn. Kaido growled angrily. However, to no avail. Marine 3 Admiral, Facing such an opponent at the same time, even Whitebeard Resurrection has absolutely no reason to be able to defeat. Kaido is really unlucky. Akainu's injury is just about to prepare for the mission. Kuzan is just returning from the mission, and Kizaru is just injured and hospitalized and has no time for the mission. The three admirals were at Mariajoy at the same time. Chapter 627 Banquet. Just when Kaido was tragically beaten by three admirals in Mariajoy, the Dragon Pirates and the Whitebeard Pirates were having a party as the victors. On an island that originally belonged to the territory of the Whitebeard Pirates, on a very prosperous island, on an island not far from the sea where the Beast Pirates fought before, two pirates the celebration feast is being held. Ha ha ha, drink it. It's your time to drink again. Drink as much as you want. You can drink as much as you want. Ha ha ha, cheers. For victory, cheers. Oh, cheers. We have won. Even in broad daylight, the noise was spreading wanton, and the war that lasted for several months had finally come to an end. In order to celebrate the hard-won victory, no matter how happy you were, it was allowed. Ha ha ha, the Whitebeard Pirates finally won. Not only the pirates of the Whitebeard Pirates and the Fire Dragon Pirates are celebrating, but the residents of this island are also celebrating. The people living in the New World are unfortunate. This sea area where the strong gather, the most prolific thing is all kinds of monsters, and the powerhouses from all over the world gather here. Of course there are arrogant heroes, but more are the real pirates who are brutal. Under the ravages of these guys, the life of the residents of the New World is not very good. However, this is not absolute. The real ruler of the New World is the four emperors. The four emperors occupy most of the territory of the New World, and the residents living on the islands under the four emperors' banner can often live in peace. Especially the territory of the Whitebeard Pirates. This is a rare paradise in the New World. The Whitebeard Pirates have nothing else to ask for, except for the necessary protection fee. As compensation for the protection fee, the Whitebeard see the flags given by the pirates are beyond imagination. In this new world, the guys who dare to challenge the Whitebeard Pirates are just killing themselves. This is a fact that everyone knows. The death of Whitebeard brought not only the hegemony change of the New World. For these residents, these things are too far away from them. What they care more about is whether they can live well tomorrow. Pirates and the Big Mom Pirates brought these residents an indescribable panic. No one can tell what will happen tomorrow. Maybe the butcher knife of the crazy pirates will soon be ushered in. Maybe it will be turned to ashes as a battlefield right away. This kind of panic was heard when I heard that some islands that were originally the territory of the Whitebeard Pirates were attacked by pirates who originally hated the Whitebeard Pirates, and they were destroyed by the invasion of beasts and Big Mom. After hearing such news, it has reached the extreme. This is an indescribable fear. No one knows if they have a tomorrow. However, now, this panic has finally come to an end. The war has finally ended. The Whitebeard Pirates and the Fire Dragon Pirates have joined forces to defeat the Big Mom Pirates and the Beasts Pirates, and it is finally over. This is a battle for pirate supremacy that has affected the entire New World. Have a drink. Several tables were stacked on top of each other. Vlad was sitting on the top of the table, holding a large cake in his left hand and a bottle of wine in his right hand. His face was flushed, and the expression on his face looked very excited. Woo ha ha ha, everyone, now is the time to enjoy the victory happily. Ha 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 ha. Wine, food, beauty, oh no, no beauty. Vlad rubbed his forehead. Anyway, everything is in unlimited supply. Ha 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 ha. The banquet lasts for 3 days and 3 nights. Be happy, everyone. No matter how we celebrate our hard-won victory, we can't be too proud. Because we have defeated 2 4 Emperor Pirates in a row. With such a record, no matter how proud you are. Come on, drinks are the blood of warriors, and food is the flesh and blood of heroes. Drink with joy, indulge in singing. Everyone, share tonight. Oh. The response sound, one after another. I understand the reasoning, but... In the corner, the man who was pouring wine into his mouth and quietly wiping his beloved knife hung a dead fish eye, why is there a cake in his hand? Where is the cake from? Is it really good to eat cake at a party? Does dessert have to be eaten as a main meal after a meal? Didn't you just swore to never eat dessert again because of the tooth decay pain? Yeah, ha ha ha. 500 million volts, Thor. Among the carnival crowd, a strong thunder light rose into the sky, and a huge thunder god had appeared on the earth. PFF'd, _ Sakata, who was drinking, spit out all the wine in his mouth in an instant, and his eyes almost protruded from their sockets. Hey, what are you doing? Banquet time now. No enemies, right? No need to fight, right? What is this doing? Yeah, ha ha ha. Look up. The giant Thor laughed so loudly. This is God, this is God's power. Crackling. Thor clasped his hands together, and a huge thunder shot up into the sky. Crack. The huge thunderbolts in the sky all exploded, and the huge thunder and lightning flowers bloomed in the sky. Ah, so pretty. It's Thunder Enel, a super monster with a bounty of 1,060,000,000. Master Enel. Master Enel, that's awesome. So strong. Lord Enel. The exclamations came one after another. Needless to say, the Fire Dragon Pirates, the guys from the Whitebeard Pirates are not so rude, but the residents of this island are not as well informed as they are. Enel's performance has they were stunned. Yeah, ha ha ha, just worship me. The huge thunder opened his hands, and the mighty voice spread. Hey, drinking or not drinking is completely different. Is this guy really Enel? Sakata silently retracted the polished sword into its sheath, and tugged at the corner of his mouth. Although he had known for a long time that this guy would go berserk after drinking alcohol, is this a bit too much today? It doesn't have the usual arrogant look at all, okay. Oh, what two good swords. Suddenly, a voice like this came from behind. Ah. Turning his head, Sakata saw a certain man, a man with two mustaches, the swordsman of the Whitebeard Pirates, and the foil vista. Yeah. Sakata nodded slightly. 21 works of the Big Quick Knife, Autumn Water of the Black Knife, 21 work of the Big Quick Knife, 1 character of the Chrysanthemum. Oh. Vista's eyes lit up. It really is two famous knives, I don't know. Yes. Sakata nodded and handed the knife in his hand. After all, the atmosphere between the two pirate groups is not as tense as before. Chapter 628 Dialogue. Oh yo. Vlad laughed and looked up at the thunder flower that exploded in the sky with a happy expression. That guy of God looks very happy. Sitting cross-legged on the high-stacked table, Vlad smiled, just be happy. Vlad smiled and stuffed a mouthful of cake into his mouth with a happy expression. It's time to celebrate. Ah ha ha ha. So, Captain. Below, suddenly came a voice like this, how long are you going to sit on it? Yeah. Vlad lowered his head, looked down, and saw the maid with a slight blush on his face. Maid. Didn't you enjoy your banquet? It doesn't matter what the banquet is. Maid said casually, how long are you going to sit on it? Don't you feel ashamed? Vlad sat on the high table, and he could be seen by everyone when he was eating, especially as the captain of a pirate group and one of the emperors at sea. If you don't care, just eat a bite of the cake, it's really not very good looking. Shame, what's the shame? Vlad laughed, and licked his fingers. Just let me stay on it for a while. Ha, I've never stood at such a high place before. I need to get used to it well. After all, although such a height is already amazing, it is just a starting point for me. Huh. The maid is a little confused. What the hell is this person talking about? Can't hear it. I'm going to start at this height. Vlad smiled, climbing to a higher mountain. You can't stop just because you suddenly get at such a height. You have to get used to this height early, and then keep going up. What the hell are you talking about? The maid frowned. Fire Dragon, can we chat, The man's low voice sounded from the side. Yeah, Tilda. Vlad was not very surprised. Marco. With a happy arc at the corners of his mouth, Vlad smiled, of course. Dash 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 dash. So. Above the sky, a huge fiery red pirate ship floated quietly. Vlad sat on his exclusive throne with a cake in his hand. He happily ate the cake and said, "Marco, is there anything you want to talk about?" Behind Vlad, Marco put his arms around his chest and leaned against the side of the boat, as if Vlad had his back to him. He also turned his back to Vlad at the same time. "Thanks, Fire Dragon." Marco said so. "Thank you. Thank you for what?" Vlad was stunned and said casually, "Is there anything I need you to thank?" "Whatever your purpose." Marco said softly, "You helped us fight off Kaido and Charlotte. Linlin is a real thing. No matter what, it's okay to say thank you." "Huh, what's there to thank for that?" Vlad smiled. "Hey, Marco, are you alright? Didn't I already say it? I would choose to join forces with you just because it's too difficult to deal with 4 emperors at the same time, in order to seize territory in the New World. But I don't have any good thoughts. The purpose is not important, Marco smiled. "The Whitebeard pirates will repay their kindness. You helped us protect the things that Dad left behind. We cannot deny such kindness no matter what." "Really?" Vlad turned his head and ate the cake in just a few bites. He licked his fingers and licked off the last cake stuck to the corner of his mouth. Vlad laughed. "It's really principled, then. Well, I will accept your thank you." "Well." Marco nodded. "Then, is there no problem?" Vlad raised the corners of his mouth and put on a playful smile on his face. "Since I have already thanked me, I don't have to take this kind of kindness into consideration, right?" "Of course." An excited expression appeared on Marco's face. "Of course, the battle is next. Your goal is the same as Kaido and Big Mom, both to take away Dad's legacy. A battle between them is inevitable." "Of course." Vlad nodded. "Unless you are willing to join our command, otherwise, there is an irreconcilable contradiction between you who want to protect Whitebeard's legacy and us who want to seize the territory in the New World. The beasts and the Big Mom are our common enemies, and when these two guys are repelled." Marco turned around and looked Vlad in the eye. "It's time for a showdown." "Yes." Vlad sighed. "It's time for our showdown." This is of course, from the very beginning, the cooperation between the Whitebeard pirates and the Fire Dragon pirates was determined to only last until the beasts and the Big Mom pirates were repelled, and now, this is the moment. "It's a pity, Marco," Vlad said with some regret. "I still have a very good impression of you. Why don't you think about it? Marco, come to my side. Just hang up my flag and you will be your leader. If you don't have nutrition, stop talking about it, right?" Marco didn't hesitate in the slightest, and his tone was natural, as if what he said was the truth in the world. "Fire Dragon, my thoughts and other people's thoughts don't need to be said anymore." "Tisk, yes, too." Vlad breathed a sigh of relief. "That's why the Whitebeard pirates are so strong. Forget it. If you don't want to, then forget it. The Junjun fruit is still with you." Marco said so suddenly. "Well, still here with me." Vlad nodded. "Don't worry, I haven't found a proper usage for it yet." "Usage?" Marco frowned. "Although I don't know what you mean, but remember our agreement." "Of course." Vlad nodded. "Of course I remember. Don't worry, Marco, I'm a person who keeps my promises. If you can really beat us, it's nothing to give you the fruit of shock." "That's good." Marco's eyes are firm, and it is their indispensable responsibility to protect the legacy left by Whitebeard, the site and family, and, although Dad has given it to Fire Dragon, he still wants to get it back. "Wait, Fire Dragon." Marco jumped lightly and jumped directly from the D-drag. "Get ready to hand over the Junjun fruit now." Chapter 629 The Eve of the War. In other words, the battle is not over yet. The night has come, the sky is full of stars covering the world, and the dazzling galaxy hangs in the sky. However, the banquet on the island is still going on. It has been said that the happy banquet will last for 3 days, so it must last for 3 days. Vlad is a man of words. However, some people have already escaped from the cheerful banquet. Above the night sky, a small meeting of the Fire Dragon pirates was being held on the D-Drag, which was quietly suspended above the sea. The room was brightly lit, and Vlad sat quietly on one side of the wide long table. Opposite him, the chef said helplessly, "It's really troublesome, it feels like we've spent the past few years. All the battles that were not fought are over. No way, things are different now." Vlad spread his hands. "It's not over now. If you want to gain a firm foothold in the new world, you have to fight this kind of battle." In the past, the Fire Dragon pirates hadn't entered the new world, and they were still developing in secret, constantly enhancing their strength. Of course, they didn't need to fight. If they took the initiative to find someone to fight, wouldn't their strength be exposed in vain? This is really worth the loss for Vlad and the Fire Dragon pirates. But it's different now, of course it's different. Although Vlad doesn't really want to be the fourth emperor, he has nothing to do. This kind of thing is not something he doesn't want to do if he doesn't want to do it. Rad couldn't make ends meet, so he had to go out to run his career and generate income, and he had to live in the struggle for hegemony in this new world. Before finally taking the throne, the battle to be experienced is fierce. Vlad understands this deeply. He has finally passed this stage now, and the remaining Whitebeard pirates are completely unable to threaten him. Well, he still has that confidence. "I thought they would be our friends by fighting together." Miss Musician's mood was a little gloomy. "Mr. Marco, they are all good people, they are all people who are easy to get along with. I thought we were already friends." "Of course." Vlad smiled. "Of course the Whitebeard pirates are a great bunch, and Serena, we're already friends too." But Miss Musician was a little anxious. "Because when we made the promise of a decisive battle." With his feet on the table and his hands behind his head, the ship doctor of the Fire Dragon pirates said with a smile, "Not yet friends. And now, whether it's us or the Whitebeard pirates, there is no way out." Quote. "That's right." Maid breathed out a smoke ring softly. "Whether it's the Chimera in Paso or the research on Vegapunk, it requires a lot of capital investment. After all, we are not a government, and we don't have more than 200 member states to provide funds to take away Whitebeard's research. Territory is something we have to do, and the Whitebeard pirates are absolutely reluctant to give up the shaking fruit in our hands." Chef said, "In other words, the conflict between us has reached the point where it cannot be resolved without fighting." "That's it." Vlad spread his hands. "The question is not whether we want to fight, but we have to fight." "You." Miss Serena slumped in the chair with a bit of depression. "Speaking of which, how many other guys are there?" Vlad raised his eyebrows and asked, "Didn't you agree to have a meeting?" Of course, Paso, needless to say, Beppo's words. Luo turned his head and looked at the corner of the wall. A big white bear was quietly shrinking in the corner, drunk. Tisk. Vlad smacked his lips. "Where's Charlie? Where's that woman? I don't know what I'm doing every day, I almost forgot about her." Charlie's words. Maid smiled and said, "I'm having a good time chatting with that fish man from the Whitebeard pirates, and Muir, the Fishman clan's friends are quite rare. Sakata is also in the same situation, and that boy is also with Whitebeard. The foil vista of the pirates is so fun to talk about, it's really hard to understand the swordsman's love for famous swords." All right. Vlad rubbed his head. "It seems that the relationship between us and the Whitebeard pirates is still very good. Maybe there will be opportunities for cooperation after this fight is over. But get ready." Vlad smiled. "This is the last battle. After this battle is over, our new chapter of the rise of the new world will come to an end. Everyone, don't take an opponent that's not that strong and take it lightly. After all, that's the Whitebeard pirates. Dash 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 dash." At the same time, on the other side, the Whitebeard pirates, the conversation is also taking place. "Where's Vista?" Marco sat in the chair and asked in surprise. "Ace, isn't he with you, E.H.?" "Vista. Fire Fist Ace, who was constantly taking things from the table and stuffing it into his mouth, said casually, I had a good time chatting with the swordsman Sakata from the fire dragon side, and now I'm going to drink. Really, it looks like we've made friends. Marco smiled and took a bottle of wine and poured it into his mouth. Those guys in the fire dragon are not bad. Ace said casually, to be honest, they're some pretty reliable guys. But, Ace, do you understand? Marco said so. Well, I understand that even if we fought against Kaido and Charlotte Linlin together before, and even now we can still enjoy everything, but... Ace nodded, after this banquet, we will be enemies. Of course I understand this. We must protect the relics left by Dad, otherwise there is no need to deal with beasts and big Mom before. We must not give up the shocking fruit from Huolong when we start a war. Similarly, on our side, Huolong's original purpose was our territory, and of course they won't give up. Quote. Get ready, Ace. Marco said softly, the battle is about to start again. This time there is no other fire dragon to help us. Oh, understand, the opponent is beyond imagination. The fire dragon pirates are already recognized by everyone as the new emperor of the new world. The fire dragon guy repelled Charlotte Linlin and Kaido. How strong is he? Marco shook his head, it's already conceivable. But, Marco, Ace wiped his mouth and turned around with a big smile on his face, we are Whitebeard pirates. Ha ha ha, of course, because we are. Marco smiled back, Whitebeard pirates. Because they are the Whitebeard pirates, they will never be afraid of challenges, so they will not lose confidence, so they dare to challenge strong enemies. Because, yes. The Man's Son. Chapter 630 Change the World. The sky is still bright, and the atmosphere of the banquet has not yet completely passed. This morning, everyone has finally calmed down. The banquet that lasted for 3 whole days has finally come to an end, even if the energetic people are in a row. After the 3-day carnival, the body was also a little bit overwhelmed, and the whole island had fallen into silence, babbling in dreams, and snoring one after another. It's not really a bustling street with all kinds of people, pirates, civilians, men, women, the elderly, and children. This carnival involved everyone. For 3 days, this place. All the people on the island joined in the carnival. And now, after the revelry, everyone fell into a deep sleep. After Whitebeard passed away, he spent several months of trembling and sleepless nights, and after a few days, he was finally able to sleep peacefully. Everyone has a smile on their faces. It is indeed a very reassuring situation. The heart hanging in the throat can be put down with peace of mind. This is what the people yearn for, nothing more, as long as it is enough to live a peaceful life, but unfortunately, such a simple wish is difficult to achieve in this world, especially in this chaotic new world. A country without government protection is miserable. It is not only the pirates that have to face, but even the murderous hands of the government. On the bridge project that has been going on for hundreds of years in East Blue, many workers are residents from non-government countries. For these residents living in the new world, if they want to live in peace, even at the cost of their lives, people living in the world are willing to live in the world even if they offer their lives to Charlotte Linlin every year. And where to enjoy a peaceful life. For the 4 emperors who can give them shelter, these residents worship them as gods, even if these gods are not friendly to them. This is how the world is. It sucks. On the edge of the coast, Vlad sat on a reef, looking at the turbulent sea in front of him. His face was gloomy, and he said, "It's really bad." "What?" Behind Vlad, the cook whispered, "Captain, what's so bad?" "Well." Vlad sighed inexplicably, then threw a bag in front of the chef. "This is." The chef opened the bag with some curiosity, and what was revealed were stacks of Baileys, which should have exceeded 100 million. "This is." "What?" "This." The sky has already begun to brighten, and the fiery red color has dyed the sky. Vlad leisurely looked at the fiery red morning sun gradually showing his head on the horizon in the distance. With Vv's smile on his face, it was the mayor who secretly gave I delivered it. What? Chef was already surprised. Is this still the territory of the Whitebeard pirates? Their guardians should still be the Whitebeard pirates, right? Because Vlad smiled, they are not sure what our relationship is with the Whitebeard pirates, and what will happen after the banquet, whether we will leave honestly, or fight with the Whitebeard pirates, they don't know. So, this is the protection money they give us. The chef sighed and said, prevent us from possible violence in the future, and give us the protection fee in advance. Well. Vlad nodded, we have a share with the Whitebeard pirates. I heard that. After this time, for at least 2 years, the guys on this island will rely on fishing for a living. Yes. Chef lowered his eyebrows. On a sea, you have to do your best just to stay alive. How can you have extra energy to think about other things? They don't have a choice, whether it's us or the Whitebeard pirates. For them they are all irresistible forces. The Whitebeard pirates are okay. They have been protecting them for a long time. But we are different, we are just new pirates to them, they don't believe us for granted. Quote. So, we have to accept the money. Vlad said casually, if they refuse, maybe they will move from this island right away. Call. Chef breathed a sigh of relief, this world is really unfair. Even if the weak just want to live harmlessly to humans and animals, it is difficult to do. Really? Vlad smiled, we are really lucky, chefs, to have the power to decide our own path in life, without letting others dictate our future. Being able to live according to one's own thoughts and freely galloping on this sea. Chef smiled, perhaps, this is the so-called pirate. And the freest of them all. Vlad turned his head, is that the One Piece king of pirates? But, chef, do you think this is good? Vlad said so suddenly. What? Cook was a little surprised. Captain, what do you mean? It doesn't make any sense. I just feel that it's boring to walk slowly to the position of One Piece king of pirates. Vlad shook his head, suddenly showing a lack of interest. Doesn't matter. Chef was stunned, standing on top of all the pirates, the only king in the world, is this still boring? No, that's not what I meant, chef. One Piece King of Pirates has been my only goal for so many years, there's no doubt that One Piece King of Pirates has to be me. Vlad smiled, with a look of excitement on his face, but chef, but wouldn't it be more interesting to be able to do something a little more interesting in the process of becoming One Piece King of Pirates? What do you mean, Captain? The chef asked softly. Try it. Vlad stood up with a smile, facing the rising sun. His face was full of fiery red sun, and his face was the brightest smile. Let's try it. Can we change the world to what extent? This world where people do their best just to live. Change the world. The chef looked at the back of his captain and smiled, that's not an easy task. It's just because it's not easy, that's why I really want to try it out. Vlad opened his arms and embraced the sun. This sea is so beautiful. So majestic, and because of this, I really want to leave my own mark on this world. Let the world dance in the palm of your hand. At least, make life easier for those who are already as dead as they are alive. Isn't this cool? That's it. The chef smiled. So, are you coming? Chef. Vlad turned around, want to come with me? Of course. Cook smiled and nodded, I just follow the captain and that's enough. Good mate. Chapter 631 Go. Final Battle. Yeah. Enel, with long earlobes, walked slowly on the road. The sun was already high, the information of the original banquet had almost disappeared, and the floor was full of carnivals. The crowd has already climbed up one after another and started the final finishing work. After cleaning up the wine bottles, bowls and dishes scattered on the ground, cleaning the grease, the scattered pieces of meat, dishes, and even the puddles of vomit, after the exciting banquet, the amount of work left is not small. All kinds of things are still waiting for the residents to deal with. There was a look of joy on their faces, even though the blood had been profuse and the savings in the town had almost been consumed, but everyone had a happy smile on their faces, and their peaceful life could continue. Life in this small town can continue on this rough sea. This is the happiest thing. Amount. Rubbing his forehead, the expression on Enel's face was not very good looking. He frowned, his face was a little pale. Drink too much, headache. Master Enel. Good morning, Lord Enel. Good morning, Lord Enel. Walking on the road, no one greeted him. This is really confusing. Among the fire dragon pirates, except for Mr. Passo, who is not clear-headed all the year round and only puts his thoughts on research, he belongs to the name. It is really difficult for Enel's men to communicate with each other. Unruly and arrogant men want to communicate with him. However, this is only limited to the normal state of Enel. Once this guy is drunk, this situation is completely untenable. Although it sounds a bit humiliating, in fact, the man named Enel is very light in alcohol and can easily get drunk. Unconsciously, he has an almost fanatical love for alcohol. Once drunk, this guy's spirit will be excited as before, and his psychological state will undergo a huge shift, and it will be much easier to communicate with him. During the 3-day banquet time, Enel was almost always in a state of drunkenness. With his various performances and abilities, the distance between him and the residents of this island was shortened as expected. Just passing by will get a lot of greetings. Enel can't come back to his senses, and can only nod from time to time with a cold face in response. Hurry up. God, I'll be waiting for you. It didn't take long for Enel to come to the beach. The huge fiery red pirate ship was already suspended in the sky. Vlad lay on the side of the ship and said in a bored way, "You guy, did you just wake up? The Whitebeard pirates set off a long time ago." "Yeah, haha, is this going to sail?" Between the flashes of electric light, Enel has appeared beside Vlad, with a big smile on his face. "Captain. Isn't it almost time?" Vlad chuckled. "The banquet is over, the wine that should be drunk has been drunk, the food that should be eaten has been eaten, and the pleasant leisure time is of course over, so, of course, it's time to get into the exciting battle again." "So?" Enel smiled, as the opponent this time the Whitebeard pirates. "Of course." Vlad nodded. "This time it's the end of the battle. It's impossible not to defeat them. Ha, the rise of the new emperor must be accompanied by the fading of the old hegemony. It's really boring." Enel pouted and said casually, "The Whitebeard pirates are not the Whitebeard pirates led by Whitebeard. Hey, Captain, why don't you take action? Me and the chef are enough." "What nonsense are you talking about? Is it a little inflated?" "God." Vlad laughed and said, "The Whitebeard pirates are not a group of pirates that can be underestimated. Are you a little too daring?" "Yeah, ha ha ha, who the hell is talking nonsense? Captain." Enel smiled. "Don't you know what's really going on? Is there any chance of us being defeated?" Quote. Vlad opened his mouth and was speechless. This is of course, the current Whitebeard pirates fighting with his fire dragon pirates is like fighting another prosperous 4 emperor pirates. Without Whitebeard's commander-in-chief, where would they come from? Of course Vlad understood this. "How do you say it?" Vlad raised his head and looked at the white clouds in the sky, with a smile on the corner of his mouth, and said, "God, let's put it this way, the Whitebeard pirates are not just a pirate group, they are the overlords of the previous era. The pirates who have dominated an era, it is really unreasonable not to have a good fight with them." Quote. "Tisk, it's boring." Enel half squinted his eyes, as if he hadn't woken up. "Whitebeard is gone, how can we beat them?" "Captain, let me and the chef come on." "No, this is absolutely not possible." Vlad bluntly refused. "The captain will never agree to this matter." Behind him, the chef's laughter sounded. "Enel, understand. The captain has great respect for the Whitebeard pirates, so he will never let it go." "That's what it means." Vlad smiled. "Soldiers to soldiers, king to king, since Marco has become the leader of the Whitebeard pirates, his opponent is me. This is a matter of course." Okay, you have the final say." Enel spread his hands. "You are the captain, of course you have the final say. If that's the case, let's go." Vlad turned his head. "Let's go. Let's go. This is the last battle of the last time. The end of the battle." On the deck, the members of the Dragon Pirates have assembled: the chef Dino, the boatman Enel, the maid Baby 5, the swordsman Sakata, the ship Dr. Luo, the helmsman Beppo, the musician Serena, the prophet Shirley, except for the customary contractions. Except for Passo, who is doing research in the laboratory, everyone from the Fire Dragon Pirates gathered here. Let's go then. Maid said casually. They've been waiting impatiently for a long time. You can take a good rest after this fight. Well, yes, after this fight is over, the only other 4 emperors in the new world that can be called our enemies are the other 4 emperors, and the war between the 4 emperors is not so easy to start, so that's it. Vlad smiled. After this fight, let's take a good vacation. Of course it has to be based on our victory. There is really no reason why we should lose. Enel spreads his hands. The huge pirate ship slowly lifted off and flew in a certain direction. On that side, there was an island, and the Whitebeard pirates had already headed there first, and that was the place of decisive battle. Chapter 632 Go to War. The location is New World. On an island, a huge pirate ship is docked on the beach, a skull with a crescent-like beard flutters in the wind, and a group of pirates has landed. X23 US. Com updates fastest. The day has finally come. Sitting lazily on a large rock, Firefist Ace, with his upper body naked, sighed, "This is the final battle, right?" The number of Whitebeard pirates who landed was not large, only captain-level cadres and a small number of strong team members, and the rest stayed on the big boats by the coast. After all, the opponents were such terrifying opponents as the Fire Dragon Pirates. It is meaningless. After all, they have fought with the Beast Pirates, and they still have some understanding of the abilities of the guys in that pirate group. The musicians who can easily make their opponents kill each other have more firepower than Buster Call. Miss Maid, like a natural disaster, you can summon the thunderous boatman at any time. With these guys around, the number of people is really meaningless. Marco understands this very well, so naturally he won't bring everyone to the war, which is really meaningless behavior. Get ready. Marco stood in the middle of the crowd and said loudly, "Everyone understands how strong the opponent is this time." Of course. The man with a mustache, Foilvista said with a smile, "Anyway, they are guys who fought together, and of course they are very clear about their strength." So, everyone has bet everything. Marco looked around, and everyone had a very determined look on their faces. Very good, very good. Then let's fight. Marco said loudly, "Bring Daddy's relics back." Oh. Unity is one, heart is steel. Come on. Suddenly, someone said so loudly, everyone raised their heads, and on the edge of the sky, a huge fiery red pirate ship had already flown towards this side. There is only one such pirate ship in the world, a pirate ship that can fly in the sky, and its fame has spread to the world. Hassan's unique flying pirate ship in the world, belonging to the ship of the Fire Dragon Pirates, Platinum Dele Grid number. The Fire Dragon Pirates have arrived. Dash 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 dash. Neat. On top of the dragon head on the bow, Vlad sat on it, looking a little cheerful. It's already here. The Whitebeard pirates, the speed is really fast. It's not just that we can't wait. Behind Vlad, the chef chuckled lightly, they are equally impatient. Let's go then. Vlad laughed wildly, let's go. Go. Crush them. The huge pirate ship slowly descended, stayed on the beach, and leaned against the pirate ship of the Whitebeard pirates, ignoring the members of the Whitebeard pirates who were staring at them on the next boat, the Fire Dragon. A group of pirates has landed. Let's go, everyone. Vlad took the lead, followed by all the main members of the Fire Dragon pirates. It's finally here. Island is not very big, and it didn't take long for the Whitebeard pirates to appear in front of Vlad, headed by the Phoenix Marco, and the captains of the Whitebeard pirates behind them were full of fighting spirit, waiting for the end. Long time. Marco put his arms around his chest. Have you brought everything? Fire Dragon. Of course. Vlad nodded, opened the small package in his hand, and revealed the fruit with a spiral pattern. Junjun fruit, right? Yeah. Marco nodded. He had read the devil fruit illustration, and of course he was very familiar with the appearance of the shock fruit. He hadn't considered the possibility that Vlad forged a devil fruit to deceive him. After all, he was a fellow who fought together, and Marco still trusted Vlad quite a bit. Then it's all right. Vlad smiled. Marco, do you know what this fight means? Of course I understand. Marco nodded and replied, whether we win or lose, this time the waves of the new world will end here. Very good. Vlad said solemnly, it's good to have this kind of awareness. So, are you ready to fail? Marco. Failure. Marco smiled playfully. Really, what to say? Fire Dragon, when did the Whitebeard pirates fail? The Whitebeard pirates have never failed. Even in the previous battle against the top, they still managed to bring Fire Fist Ace out of Marineford in the face of the fully fledged Marine headquarters, although they could not do without Vlad's help. But the final result is still, the Whitebeard pirates have won, there is no doubt. Then today is the first time you have failed. Vlad smiled. Get ready. Marco, prepare to fail. Sorry, we were indeed ready for a long time. Marco said solemnly, but, of course, it's just a preparation for success. I am so proud. Vlad smiled, but yes, this is the Whitebeard pirates, and then, Marco, we. Is it a friend already? Well. Marco was stunned for a moment, then nodded and agreed, of course, we are already friends, aren't we? Really, that's great. Vlad breathed a sigh of relief with relief. That's great. Then, this battle won't affect our friendship, will it? Of course not. Marco shook his head. Battle is battle, friendship is friendship. Fire Dragon, when it comes to the top, when fighting against the beasts, we Whitebeard pirates and your Fire Dragon pirates have established a friendship of life. This is, of course it cannot be denied. Quote. Very good. Vlad smiled. That's good. It's good to be friends. Wouldn't it be too bad if you lost so many good friends because of a battle you had to fight? I feel the same way. Behind Marco, Foil Vista said with a smile. During the 3 days of the banquet, the relationship between this man and the swordsman Sakata of the Dragon Pirates became more and more profound. The two swordsmen have a common topic. They are good friends now. Then it will be fine. Vlad clapped his hands and smiled. That's enough. Then, everyone from the Whitebeard pirates. Come on, let me see your strength. Then. Whoosh. The blue flames suddenly expanded. Marco's arms had turned into huge blue wings, and his body shot towards Vlad like an off-string arrow. Behind him, the officers of the Whitebeard pirates also charged towards the Fire Dragon pirates with smiles on their faces. The battle has finally started. Chapter 633 While fighting. Concentrate, concentrate. Don't be distracted by her abilities. On the deserted island that was originally empty, the sound of music was spreading, and the strange power that disturbed the heart spread with the spread of the music. In one corner of the island, a woman named Serena was holding a harmonica in her hand, taking care of herself. When playing, the music is only the carrier of the fruit of resonance, and it is not too important. X23 US. Com updates fastest. It's really troublesome enough. The captains of the Whitebeard pirates were a little troubled. Serena's abilities were quite troublesome. Even a sea hero like them would not be like ordinary people, but they would still be disturbed by such abilities. Restlessness, and such distraction, is undoubtedly fatal when dueling with a master. Fishman Karate. Fishman with a faraway head, that Mir tucked his right hand around his waist, slammed a heavy punch, targeting Serena. 3000 Tile Jungchen. Invisible fluctuations surging out. Bullying a lady is not good behavior. Boom. Suddenly, the transparent spherical space completely enveloped the surrounding area, and the huge stone instantly blocked the shock wave. PFF'd. The stone shattered instantly, but at the same time, that Mir's punching power also dissipated. Cut, Trafalgar Law. Muir's eyes narrowed. Hey. The man with the long sword on his shoulder had a mocking smile on his face. Calm down, friend. Behind Fishman Namur, many officials of the Whitebeard pirates have assembled. Hey, no. Luo looked a little frightened. This number of people is no longer a scale that I can handle. Be humble. The smiling chef stood beside Luo and said softly, your hard work is obvious to all of us. I guess it won't be long before you can take revenge yourself. Well. Luo looked very surprised, isn't it? Dino, wouldn't it be too wasteful for you to help me? Level combat power of the dragon pirates after Captain Vlad and Enel. Even if he is right with the Phoenix Marco, it is not impossible to do it. Is it too wasteful to come to help him now? No way. Cook smiled wryly, they don't need me there. Dash. Yeah ha. The thunderbolt shot out suddenly, instantly smashing the man in front into a flame. Enel retracted the right hand that fired the thunderbolt, and smiled even more. It's really troublesome, the thunderbolt doesn't work for you at all. I'll give you the same words back. The flames converged, Fire Fist Ace waved his hands, and 2 flame spears flew out of his hands. Enel did not dodge or evade, and directly let the flames penetrate his body. Of course, the flame also has no effect on his body of lightning. There is no restraint relationship between the flame and the lightning. Enel's lightning can't hurt Ace, and Ace's flame can't hurt Enel at all. Tisk, it seems that we still have to rely on fists to decide the outcome with you. Enel grinned. I really hate punching people. Really? There. Ace turned into a flame and jumped behind Enel in an instant, punching Enel's back with a heavy punch. I'm just the opposite. Oh. With a smile on Enel's face, his body instantly turned into a thunderbolt and directly avoided Ace's punch. He appeared behind Ace like a teleport, and slapped Ace's back with a heavy kick. Hey! With a scream, Ace was directly ejected by Enel, slammed into the ground and turned into a flame that shot up into the sky. Although armament hockey is not very reliable, as long as it can be used, it is enough to hit Ace. I don't know if your fist is strong or not. Enel grinned and said, it's true that observation hockey isn't great. Sky Island's HeartNet is not exactly the same as observation hockey on Blue Sea. With Enel's Guro no Mi, rumble fruit, he can even read minds. Ace's attack is too hard to work on him. Cut. Ace's body recondensed, wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth. The expression on his face was not very good. Tough guy. Really? Enel looked a little lacking in interest. The Phoenix is being targeted by the captain. Is my opponent the only one of your level? It's boring. Arrogant guy. With a low drink, Ace ejected his body and charged directly towards Enel. Ha! Enel chuckled and made a crack, turning into lightning and flashing towards Ace. Dash. When the swords clashed, and the man with the mustache couldn't help but take 2 steps back under a tremendous force. What a powerful force! Vista lowered his body and moved his footsteps lightly. He was already close to his opponent in an instant, and the long knife in his right hand slashed towards the opponent's chest from bottom to top. As expected of you, Mr. Sakata. Om. Sakata's body suddenly turned, and the 2 swords in his hand spun, and directly bounced Vista's sword. At the same time, the second sword also slashed directly towards Vista's neck. Ding! He hurriedly raised his second sword to block Sakata's blow. Under the powerful force, Vista couldn't help but take a step backwards. 2 swords, flowing water, siege artillery. Without the slightest hesitation, Sakata's body was ejected, and the black knife Chushui in his right hand stabbed directly at Vista. Ha la 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 la. Sparks splashed around, erected 2 swords and opened Sakata's long sword. Vista's face had a somewhat annoyed expression. The name is obviously the Sword of Flowing Water, but in fact it is not at all soft and graceful. Is it such a ferocious swordsmanship? It's amazing. Sakata was a little amazed, his body suddenly rotated, and a powerful slash had roared out, "Two swords flow, flowing water." Title. The azure blue slashes were like the tides on the sea, roaring towards Vista one after another. Drink. A low voice, Vista swung both swords, and the slashes like rose petals drifted out, hitting Sakata's slashes heavily. Scoff. The ground suddenly cracked, and invisible slashes swept in all directions. "You can speak with ease in the face of me," Sakata exclaimed, "is this the swordsman of the Whitebeard pirates?" "Ha ha, Mr. Sakata." Vista swept through the swords, and the slashes like a sea of flowers swept towards Sakata. "You are the strongest and terrible. It is a great joy in life to be able to make friends with swordsmen like you." Sakata clenched his swords tightly, with a smile on his face. "It's good to meet friends with Wu." Chapter 634 Phoenix. Hee 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 hee. Crazy laughter spread all over the battlefield. The extremely majestic man laughed, and the shadows spread everywhere, turning into three somewhat petite shadow clones wandering around the battlefield. When the sharp palm of the shadow mage slammed heavily on a huge hammer, and the strong force directly made the short and fat man holding the hammer take a step back. Gecko Moria. Quote. The name is Bramank, the captain of the 6th Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. He is a bit short and stout. He holds a hammer in his right hand to block the attack of the shadow mage. Another huge hammer has been pulled out of it. Go away. The huge hammer covered the hard armament hockey, carrying the power of wind and thunder, and bombarded the shadow mage in front of him heavily. PFF'd. With a light sound, the not-so-big shadow mage shattered instantly, but in an instant, the shattered shadow mage turned into a sky-filled bat and flew directly towards Bramank. Cut. Bramank looked a little unwilling, even with hockey attached. Of course, normal attacks couldn't do anything to Shadow. Ohm. The gust of wind suddenly blew up, and Bramank held the double hammer in his hand, and it spun up suddenly, like a tornado, and instantly blew away all the shadows that he wanted to return to as a bat. Hee 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 hee. Not far from Bramank, Moria smiled and didn't care at all. Bang 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 bang. After a few shots, 4 bullets hit Moria's chest almost in no particular order, and the bullet wrapped in armament hockey pierced Moria's chest directly. But, hey, Whitebeard pirates. Moria turned her head with a smile, still with a gloomy smile on her face. Captain of the 16th Division, Izo. Damn. Even though he's a man, he's wearing women's clothes. From the outside, he looks like a geisha. He hides his pupils and BB shrinks. What a tough guy. A pity, a pity. Moria's chest was dark, and it was no longer normal flesh and blood. This was the shadow of the shadow mage he released. It doesn't work for me. Boom. A shadow mage flashed behind Yi Zhang in an instant, kicked Yi Zhang's back with a heavy kick, and the man was blown away. Damn it. A muscular man descended from the sky, holding a sword in his hand, a sword burning with flaming flames. Straight across half of Moria's body. The captain of the 15th Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, Fosa. What? The moment of landing, before he had time to take back his stance, he withdrew the flaming sword in his hand, and under Moria's feet, who was close at hand, a tentacle-like shadow roared up and slapped Fosa in the face like a whip. Boom. The sturdy man was directly swept away, bringing a huge amount of dust on the ground, and slammed into the big stone in the distance. Hey, captains of the Whitebeard Pirates. That's not good. Moria grinned wide, revealing her mouth full of fangs, and the part that was directly slashed by Fosa was covered with a layer of shadow as before. The most cheating part of the Shadow Mage's ability is that it can exchange positions with the main body at any time, to achieve the same effect as teleportation. More than that, just swapping parts of the body can also be done, that is to say, at the moment of being attacked, directly replacing the attacked body part with a shadow is a more cheating ability than elementalization. After all, even hockey is also unable to damage shadows. Moria. With a loud roar, Brahmank just saw the situation of Fosa being blasted by Moria after blowing the shadow bat. The hammer was already slammed towards Moria. He 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 he. Moria smiled, her body suddenly turned into a black shadow, and was instantly defeated by the huge hammer, but at the same time, Moria had appeared in the distance, the shadows converged instantly, turned into a huge hammer, and blew away directly. Brahmank. He 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 he. Moria laughed wildly, no way. Such a level can't do it. Dash 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 dash. Oh, it looks like the battle time is running out. In the sky, the dark red dragon man and his arms turned into wings, and the big bird wrapped in blue flames was facing each other. Vlad looked down at the battlefield below and smiled, Marco, you have almost realized it. You guys, there is no chance of winning. The 16 division leaders of the 16 divisions of the Whitebeard pirates, Thatch, the head of the 4th division, was killed by Blackbeard, and the head of the 3rd division, Josu Diamond, died in battle. In this battle, the remaining 14 division heads were all dispatched. And as the opponent's fire dragon pirates, the number of people dispatched is a total of 9 people, including the captain, cook, boatman, maid, swordsman, doctor, musician, helmsman and Moria of the subordinate pirate group. The number of people has an absolute advantage, but in fact, of course, Marco can see that it is not long before the battle starts, but his side has already been defeated. The difference in advanced combat power is too great. Vista can hold the opponent's swordsman, other than that, there is really no good fight. Of course, Ace can't stand the opponent's Thunder Enel, and the rest of the cadres are facing the magic Chef Dino. There is no power to resist when a monster is, and Marco is very aware of the strength of the opponent. Mention, the opponent's subordinates also had strong subordinates of the former Shichibukai like Gecko Moria, and this level of combat power was not something that an ordinary captain could handle. Cut. Marco let out a low drink, flapped his wings, and his body had turned into a blue meteor, shooting straight towards Vlad. Hey. Vlad sighed, how boring. Boom. Marco drew his right leg directly towards Vlad, but in just an instant, white flames roared out of Vlad's body, turning directly into a wall of flames, covered with a layer of dark hockey, which directly separated Marco and Vlad. Hey. Marco frowned, and the moment he kicked his leg against the wall of flames, the terrifying high temperature was passed from above, and the calf was like a barbecue on the grill, and the bone-piercing pain was past. Woo! Wings slammed, and Marco twisted his body, crossed the wall of flames, and kicked Vlad's head. That's why I hate people like you who like to kick people's heads with their feet. Don't you think it stinks? Vlad said casually, stretched out his right hand, and directly held Marco's right leg. What? Marco's eyes widened in surprise, such a reaction speed. Boom. A heavy punch slammed into Marco's body, and at a height of 10 meters after Vlad's dragon transformation, his fist was already half the size of Marco's belly. Whoosh. Like being hit by a sledgehammer, Marco flew straight out. Dash 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 dash. The last monthly ticket is added, and the edition is over, tomorrow will be 3 more tilde. Chapter 635 King's Courage. Who. Holding a long sword in his hand, the man's breathing is a little short, and the annoying music is still spreading everywhere. The feeling of running wild in an instant, losing control, and waving a butcher's knife towards his partner. It's a really terrifying ability. Ada. Accompanied by a strange cry, the tall white bear descended from the sky and swept his relatively stubby right leg towards the man like a hammer. When he quickly raised the long sword and blocked it in front of him, blocking the blow of the white bear wrapping around armament hockey. The powerful force instantly knocked the man back, and Dang Dang stepped back a few steps. Ada. The strange screams continued in the mouth. The white bear's attack was like a storm. Fists, kicks, knees, elbows, headbutts, any part of the body can be turned into an attacking weapon. With his powerful hockey, who is strong and not weak, was suppressed by the man holding the sword for a while and couldn't fight back at all. Cut. Swords in both hands, hockey clinging to them, the man was only able to defend himself, disturbed by the tormenting music. Ah-cha! Jumping into the air, the right leg fell from the sky and pressed down, hitting the man's long sword heavily. Hey! The arm was a little sore and numb, and the defense arm was a little unbearable. Discharge. A sly brilliance suddenly radiated from the doo-doo eyes of the polar bear Bebo. Crackling. The blue thunder light shot up into the sky, and Bebo's body was like static electricity mixed with blue thunder light. The two kinds of electric currents were mixed together, and the extremely powerful electric current instantly bombarded the man holding the sword. Ah! The man could not help but let out a scream. Enel's ability was only copied with the copy fruit. In fact, it was completely unable to exert the level of Enel's, but if it was mixed with its own static electricity, the power that could be exerted was not weak. At the very least, the pirate in front of him, who was disturbed by Serena's music and completely unable to exert his own power, could not easily bear such power. Morik. The man with a strong physique and a long whip yelled, and with a sword he slashed the wild sword that was slashing towards him, and charged directly towards this side, the long sword in his hand directly aimed at Beppo chopped over. Go back. View. Some indifferent women's voices sounded, and the almost indiscernible voice resounded, and a dazzling laser slammed directly on the long-braided man, that is, the captain of the 9th Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, Blenheim's sword. Ah! With a cry of pain, the long sword in his hand was instantly released, and the strong force even made Blenheim's palm begin to bleed. This time. In the distance, in front of Serena, the musician who was concentrating on playing, the maid said coldly, "It's a warning." But, hey! With a muffled sound, the dazzling knife light flickered, Blenheim's body instantly split in two, and his body fell heavily on the ground while he still kept his dazed eyes. No need. The warning is no longer needed. Behind Blenheim, Luo smiled and waved the long knife in his hand. How about it? It's better to be an enemy of me than to be an enemy of that cold woman. Hey, Luo. Baby 5 is somewhat dissatisfied. Ha ha. He smiled lightly, but Luo didn't care at all. With a light lift of his fingers, his body disappeared in place in an instant, but in an instant, the meteor hammer wrapped around Hockey had blasted past where Luo was standing. Damn. The man with the mustache and the meteor hammer in his hand looked very ugly, Blenheim. Blenheim, who had already turned into two parts, but was still able to scratch his head in confusion, said, "I don't know why, but I'm not dead yet." It's not just Lacchio who has a mustache, but also many nearby captains. God lost. Sighing so softly, is this really good? In such a battlefield? With a look of emotion on his face, he stepped forward with his right foot, and the ground suddenly changed. The originally solid ground was instantly twisted and turned into a creamy pond full of sweet fragrance. What? Wow. What is this? Cream. Awakening, it's that guy who woke up. An instant, the nearby Whitebeard pirate team leaders fell directly into the pond full of cream, and were wrapped in large clumps of cream. So sweet. Quote. So happy. Ah-ha-ha, cream, ah-ha-ha. Happy to die. Chef's cream is not ordinary cream, but something that can make people feel happiness from the heart. Then, with a smile on the chef's face, he put his hands together gently. The hospitality is not good. The cream changed in an instant, the soft and sweet cream solidified instantly and turned into solid butter, which directly blocked all the people who fell into the cream pond. What? I got hit. What a mean guy, he's tempting us with cream. But it's really sweet. Oh, is this the end? Luo put the sword on his shoulders, walked to the chef's side, and exclaimed, "What a terrible power." Although the Whitebeard pirates are our opponents now. Chef chuckled, but they are our friends after all, so don't overdo it. Of course. Luo nodded. Dash 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 dash. You. Blood poured out of his mouth, and Ace stood up staggeringly. His face was bruised, and it was not easy to open his eyes to see his opponent clearly. Crack. Whitebeard pirates who rushed up to stop him but was caught by him with a backhand and turned black into black. Enel said a little boredly, "Do you want to continue? I'm not as soft-hearted as a chef. You almost understand, don't you? The gap between us is not just shouting two slogans, it can be smoothed out with some unwilling will. Woo, hey, do you want me to throw in the towel?" Even though his injuries were not minor and his head was dizzy, the man named Portgas Ace was still able to laugh out loud. "Don't even think about it. How arrogant. Do you think the Whitebeard pirates will admit defeat?" Tisk. Enel pouted. "The most annoying thing is you guys who don't know what to say and can't recognize reality." Crack. An instant, Enel had flashed in front of Ace, with his hands in his pockets, and the whip leg had already been drawn towards Ace. "Don't be too arrogant." The invisible aura roared. "The spirit that belongs to the king begins to vibrate." Yeah. Enel looked a little surprised. "Same as the captain." Boom. Arm raised to block Enel's whip leg. Ace raised his head. "Hey, let's fight on." Chapter 636 Battle is over. Boom. The flames that fell from the sky directly bombarded the ground. The flames soared into the sky, and the surrounding temperature was instantly diffused, and the air was suddenly distorted. It's quite exciting to talk about it. In the sky, the man incarnated by thunder and lightning retracted his right leg and landed on the ground a little boringly. Isn't the result no different from just now? It's disappointing. Shocked by the conqueror hockey that Ace suddenly showed before, Enel became a little interested in the fight with Fire Fist Ace, but the result was that there was no difference from the previous battle. The weak are still weak after all, not because suddenly there is something different and become strong. Tisk, so it seems. Enel said, "Conqueror's hockey is nothing special, not everyone is a captain. A pity that not all guys with conqueror hockey will be rare powerhouses." Enel realizes this. At the very least, the Fire Fist Ace lying in front of him is completely ashamed of his conqueror qualifications. Not all conqueror hockey possessed will be as tough as their own captain. "It's boring." Enel said loudly, "It's boring. This fight is really boring." Boom. Above the sky, thunderclouds suddenly converged. Blue and white thunder and lightning flashed in the clouds like a giant dragon, and a natural disaster-like scene just appeared on this small island in an instant. "Hey, that's a storm." No, no, no. Yes, the awakening of Guro Guro no Mi, rumble rumble fruit. Get ready, a powerful attack is coming. Well, really, are you so impatient? In the distance, the chef looked helpless. Be careful, that Enel guy is going to clear the scene. What a terrifying ability. Beside the chef, Luo sighed a little, a real natural disaster. Okay, well, so scary. The white bear, who was still majestic before, now hides behind Luo with some timidity. But didn't the captain say not to overdo it? Miss Musician had stopped playing, and asked curiously, "Mr. God's trick won't?" "Don't worry." The maid had already caught another cigarette and said casually, "That kid is the one who listens to the captain the most. He has already shown mercy." Yeah, ha ha ha. Enel spread his hands and laughed. The battle is over. It's over. Wan lay. Crack crackle 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 crackle. Quote. The thunder and lightning fell from the clouds in the sky like a torrential rain, and bombarded a group of pirates from the Whitebeard pirates. Hey. Ah. Get out of the way. Ah. The screams came one after another, and the battle had reached such a point that it was almost over. Dash 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 dash. Boom. Hey. This bastard, are you attacking with me? Holding two swords in his hand, Sakata took a step, and instantly appeared on the ground in the distance as if he was close to the horizon. The place where he was standing was already a deep pothole. And Sakata flickered again, dodged a lightning bolt from the sky again, turned his head and looked at the small pits that appeared on the ground around him, which was not at the same level as his own. It's all aimed at me, right? Power, it's not at the same level at all. Asshole. Having completely abandoned his taciturn setting, Sakata complained loudly. Ha ha ha, what a terrifying ability. In the dense pillar of thunder, fiery red roses suddenly bloomed, and the man holding the double knives protruded directly from the gap of the lightning, and rushed directly in front of Banshin. It seemed as if a flower field appeared in the air in an instant, with an extremely powerful slash. Already bombarded towards Sakata. Hey! Sakata dodged a lightning bolt in an instant, without turning his head, his body suddenly spun. Two-knife flow, flowing water, eddy current. In the original flower field, a huge vortex instantly appeared, and the blue vortex appeared on the deep-sea surface, and everything was swept away. The thunder and lightning from the bombardment and the slash from the foil sword were simultaneously swept by the eddy current, instantly changing directions, and bombarded towards the foil sword. Good swordsmanship. The foil sword sighed, the two swords were crossed in front of the chest, and with a heavy swing, the whistling slash roared out, bombarding the mixed slash that Sakata bounced over. Whoosh! The slash dissipated abruptly, and a vigorous figure jumped out. Sakata's eyes flashed with azure blue brilliance, and the two knives in his hands had azure blue water flowing. It seems that the rest of the place is over. I am here. I can't do it without my full strength. Oh! Vista widened his eyes in anticipation. Come on then. Two-knife flow, flowing water, profound meaning, great tsunami. Boom. Crackling. Above the sky, thunderclouds surge. Between heaven and earth, thunder snakes dance. Above the earth, the duel between the two men has come to an end. Dash 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 dash. Oh. Vlad turned to one side slightly, dodged Marco's kick, and said casually, "It looks like the battle below is over, let's hurry up here." Cut. A very unpleasant groan. Marco twisted his wings, his body twisted, and his heavy foot slammed into Vlad's head again. Can't we just change the target? Vlad was speechless. Why did he have to kick his face with his feet? Crack. The freedom was already unfolded, and Vlad's right hand grabbed Marco's right leg before Marco kicked him. Damn. Marco couldn't figure out why the fire dragon reacted so fast. It was almost like Charlotte Katakori's future sight, and normal attacks didn't work for him at all. That's amazing, Marco. Vlad sighed like this, and while he sighed, he tilted his head back and avoided the kick from Marco's left leg. My attack has no effect on you at all. It makes me feel helpless. Not that Vlad didn't do any damage to Marco. Marco has eaten dozens of his fists. It stands to reason that Marco's bones don't know how many broken bones, but, unfortunately, this guy doesn't seem to suffer at all. Harm. The phoenix fruit is indeed terrifying, with its terrifying resilience. Vlad is very satisfied with his resilience after his awakening, but it pales in comparison to Marco's resilience. So, look at it. Marco. On Vlad's right hand, black smoke suddenly spread out. Dark water. The battle came to an end. Chapter 637 Change. The battle is over. It is indeed over. Fire Dragon Pirates and the Whitebeard Pirates is indeed over, and the battle that no one knows about is over. When Vlad used the dark water, the battle was already over. Marco's ability was really difficult to deal with. Even if his head was pierced, even if the little penis was cut off, the terrible ability to recover is indeed it's too difficult to deal with. Plus Marco's skilled two-color hockey, outstanding spirit and indestructible will, there are really not many people in the world who can beat him. However, it is a pity that he met Vlad, who is already known as Vlad of the Four Emperors. Even if he wanted to defeat Marco without using dark water, it would only take a little more time. After the dark water, there is no suspense in the battle. The ability of the phoenix fruit was forcibly removed, and before Marco came back to his senses, he had already received a set of punches from Vlad. Even if Vlad's fist was out of the state of the dragon fruit, it was still not covered. The powerful armament hockey and his powerful fists knocked Marco out of the way. His teeth were knocked out several times, and his mind went blank. Then naturally, the two people who lost the ability to fly at the same time fell on the ground, which is more convenient. Unlike Marco who only has the phoenix fruit, Uncle Vlad is a noble 3-fruit ability person, a group of hanging. After falling to the ground, the ability of the fluttering fruit can also be used. Just like the previous beating Kizaru, Marco was buried directly in the ground, and was beaten violently by Vlad again, and the battle was over here. The result, of course, was that the dragon pirates were completely victorious, the Whitebeard pirates were defeated, and it was that simple. Whitebeard pirates who lost Whitebeard's leadership are no longer the opponents of the fire dragon pirates led by Vlad. The night has shrouded the world, and this island that is still a battlefield during the day is now full of laughter. Ha ha ha, that's amazing, Mr. Sakata. With a bottle of wine in his hand, the man who was pouring it into his mouth exclaimed, "What a terrible swordsmanship." That's what I wanted to say. Man, opposite Foil Vista, Sakata smiled, "Vista, you are scary. I thought I would win, but I almost lost." Ha ha ha, almost, isn't the winner still you? Vista smiled and touched his chest with some lingering fears, "I thought it was dead." Passo's medicine is still very useful. Sakata nodded, the duel between swordsmen would inevitably lead to casualties, and the recovery gummies made by Sakata at this time were very useful. As long as he didn't die, no matter how severe the trauma could be healed, it was like a cheating drug. It is precisely because of Passo's medicine and Luo's treatment that although the battle between the two pirates was still fierce this time, there were no casualties. If the island had not been destroyed by Enel, I would have thought that these two pirates the group is here for an outing. Crack. He was suddenly patted on the back, and the blushing man turned around and said, "Yeah. Fire Fist Ace." Ha ha ha, Thunder Enel. Sitting directly next to Enel, Ace, who was naked like Enel, smiled, "Come have a drink." Huh. Enel was a little confused. Even when he was drunk, this man couldn't keep up with Ace's train of thought. He was beaten up during the day, and now he still wants to drink together. Ha ha, you are very strong. Ace exclaimed, "Super strong." Yeah ha ha ha, isn't that of course. Enel's grin is obviously very useful to Ace's words, "This god is a god." God. Ace smiled and touched Enel with the bottle, "But I won't just admit defeat. I won't lose to you next time." Yeah ha ha ha. Enel took another sip of wine and laughed, "What a stupid guy. Are you trying to chase the gods with a mortal body? However, this stupid obsession, the gods will accept it for the time being." Ha 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 ha, you bastard. Ace responded with a bright smile, "It's really interesting." The other side. Hey, did we win? Vlad sat cross-legged on the ground with a big stick in his hand and smiled, "Marco." Yes. Marco sat opposite Vlad, looking a little disinterested, "It's true that you won." Hey, then, as agreed. Vlad smiled, "The Whitebeard pirates' territory already belongs to us, right?" Woo. Slowly heaving a sigh of relief, a smile appeared on Marco's face, "It's yours. Can you protect them well?" "Fire Dragon." Marco said so suddenly. Ah ha ha ha. Vlad looked as if you knew what to ask. "What nonsense. Do you think I can't do it?" "That's fine." Marco nodded, "It's all the treasures left by Dad, we can't protect it anymore. Fire Dragon, I'll leave it to you." Hello. Vlad looked a little speechless, "Don't say it as if you were willing to give it to us, okay? I won it from you in a fair and honest way, okay?" Ha 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 ha. Marco laughed and seemed to be very happy, "That's what it means. I'll leave it to you. Fire Dragon." Marco said seriously. Although he was reluctant to admit it, the fact was that they could no longer protect the territory left by Whitebeard. In the New World, the four emperors would not allow them to occupy such a vast territory. Although they haven't been with each other for a long time, Marco understands very well that the Fire Dragon Pirates are a very good pirate group, and they have no shortage of strength and courage. Marco is very relieved to give these sights to the Fire Dragon. No problem. Vlad said casually, what else could be wrong with giving it to me? By the way, don't think that we gave up and got Daddy's Junjun fruit back after this failure. Marco said this suddenly. As you wish. Vlad grinned widely, whenever you think you can grab it back, just come and find me, as long as I still keep the fruit. Then wait. Fire Dragon. Marco raised the bottle. Vlad raised the bottle knowingly and touched Marco. Sooner or later you will cry and admit defeat. Ah ha ha ha. Vlad laughed. Come on though. The hegemony of the Whitebeard pirates changed. Chapter 638 respectively. So, is that the way to say goodbye? On the coast, Vlad sat on a rock and chuckled. Standing beside him, the man with his arms around his chest was facing the sea breeze, the pineapple-like hairstyle on his head was blown by the wind, and there was a smile of Vivi on his face, the former captain of the Whitebeard pirates, the current Whitebeard, the head of the big family. Marco, the world-famous pirate phoenix, said casually. The banquet is over. What are you still doing here? There is so much more that can be done. Vlad smiled. It's not impossible to hold the banquet for another 10 days and 10 nights. If it is with a good friend, it is not impossible to hold such a banquet for 50 years. Ha ha ha, 50 years. Marco laughed. Hey, this is a bit too long, I'm describing my determination. Vlad shrugged. Come on, Fire Dragon. Marco turned his head and looked down at Vlad. Don't be discouraged by the short separation, we will meet again. In such a vast place as the sea, there will be a time to meet again. At that time. Let's have a drink, Hey, it stands to reason. Vlad smiled and said, usually, I say things like this to others, but it feels a little weird to hear you say it to me this time. Ha! Marco sneered. Was a big ship on the coast, the big ship of the Whitebeard pirates. Early in the morning, the busy pirates began to move various things onto the ship to prepare for the next voyage. The battle with the Fire Dragon pirates has been completely over. Although the result is a complete failure, this is not the end of the Whitebeard pirates' trip. There are still various exciting adventures waiting for them in the future. This sea is very big, and it is not necessary to stop after a failure in one place and not be able to sail. The Whitebeard pirates are not a pirate group that will stagnate just because of one failure. What are you going to do next? Vlad said casually. Next. With a smile on Marco's face, travel around. Dad's dream is to have a family, and we're a big family now, so next, just look around, walk around, this sea is so beautiful, stop there no way. Be careful. Vlad said with a smile, this sea is beautiful, but it's not friendly. There are as many guys as there are malicious people against the Whitebeard pirates. Let them come as long as they have it. Marco said loudly, the Whitebeard pirates are never afraid of challenges. Woo ha ha ha, this kind of confidence is really good. Vlad smiled and gave Marco a bottle of wine. Crack. With a light sound, Vlad also picked up a bottle of wine, flicked the cork, and lifted it up. Bang. The two wine bottles touched. Vlad took a sip of wine into his mouth. Well, all the best. Of course. Marco drank the bottle in one breath, with a big smile on his face. Goodbye then. Marco jumped off the reef and walked towards the big ship not far away. Vlad, my friend. Goodbye. Vlad continued to fill his mouth with wine and smiled, see you of course. Goodbye, Whitebeard pirates. The big ship slowly moved away from the coast, heading towards the depths of the sea. That's goodbye. Sakata put his left hand on the two swords around his waist, with a faint smile on his face, I will be stronger next time we meet. If you don't want to lose even worse, hurry up and become stronger. Vista. Really? The female fishman named Charlie looked a little lost. I don't know when the next time I will see my compatriots. Ha, I don't know when the next meeting will be. It won't take long, goddess, there are too many encounters on the sea. Vlad smiled. Ha, but what a nice bunch of guys. Who is the goddess? Mrs. Charlie was not satisfied with the title. Well, it is indeed a great group of pirates. Behind Vlad, the chef nodded in agreement, as expected of the Whitebeard pirates, it is indeed a very impressive pirates. Che, they're nothing but a bunch of prodigal dogs. With the corners of his eyes, the man with a blush on his face, the boatman of the Fire Dragon pirates, Enel disdainfully said, no matter what you say, it's nothing but a defeat for our men. Who, is that so? The maid with a cigarette in her mouth sneered. I had a good chat with Fire Fist Ace of the Whitebeard pirates. Who was the one who drank all night? Quote. Enel's face froze. Ah, can things that are drunk be counted? What happened after being drunk doesn't count. Can things that are drunk be counted? I heard that you have another agreement. Vlad didn't care about Enel's tweaking, and said casually, Ace said he would beat you in the future. It's nothing but the rants of ignorant fools. Enel calmed down a little, and said disdainfully, no matter how long he tries, he will never be the opponent of this god. Huh, not necessarily. Vlad shook his head, he knew exactly how powerful the three ASL brothers were. It can be said that in this world, except for Charlotte Linlin, the born king of destruction, the three brothers have already stood at the top of the world. I know that in a few years, these three brothers will become the top powerhouses in the world. Whether Ace and Enel will win or lose in the future. Let's go. Vlad stood up, patted the dust on his buttocks, and smiled. The Whitebeard pirates have already set off, and of course we can't stop here. Really, they can walk easily, but we're in trouble. Vlad stretched his waist and smiled. The mess left by the Whitebeard pirates is still waiting for us to solve. Fire Dragon pirates. Vlad laughed. Let's sail. Hi. A huge fiery red pirate ship descended from the sky, and the fiery red elf sat on the side of the boat, dangling his legs, and said loudly, it's ready. The Whitebeard pirates have decided to give up all their territory to the Fire Dragon pirates, which is a good thing, but the trouble is, these territories are not peaceful now. Well, first of all, the huge fiery red pirate ship flew towards the sky in the wind. Vlad sat on the bow, took out a phone bug from his pocket, and said with a chuckle. Spread the news. Woo ha 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 ha, I've already hung up the banner of Lao Tzu and still want to do things. Chapter 639 Kaido x Linlin. In the New World, on an unnamed island, the atmosphere was extremely depressing. There was silence in the lush jungle, and all the animals shrank in fear and shivered in the corner of the island, completely no longer as vibrant as before. Even the birds flying in the sky are the same. I don't know how many birds that would land on this island to rest and feed in the past are completely extinct today, and there is nothing. Silence, the only concept on this island is silence, as if some wild beast exists on this island. The smoke, with a dark smoke twisting, rose into the sky, and I don't know how high the sky spread. On the coast, there was a bonfire, and the smoke came from here. The huge wild boar was stripped of its skin, pierced from head to tail by a huge wooden stick, and it was roasted on the ground. The wild boar oozes out and falls into the fire below, causing a burst of sparks. The rich fragrance spreads from the wild boar. This is a wonderful fragrance that can make everyone saliva vigorously and move their index fingers. Just by smelling it, you will know that this is a deliciously roasted wild boar. However, the owner of the roasted wild boar was not attracted by the aroma of the wild boar, and his attention had been completely focused on another matter. Damn Fire Dragon Kid. The body is extremely majestic, and the clothes on his body are tattered, which can almost only block the key parts of his body. There are two huge horns on his head. The height of nearly 10 meters has completely surpassed the magnitude of humans. There is absolutely no problem with saying a monster. He touched his right hand casually, but he didn't touch his big wine gourd. The man's face showed a trace of anger visible to the naked eye. It was really uncomfortable to live on a deserted island without drinking. All this was caused by that bastard. He was holding a newspaper in his left hand. Compared to his huge palm, it looked very petite. The words on it were smaller than an ant for this guy. It was really hard for him to be able to read it clearly. This damn guy. Roaring angrily, the demon-like man's heart was full of anger, the anger of being fooled and tricked. The man is certainly not someone else. It is Kaido of the Beasts who appeared in Mariajoy before and was beaten by 3 Admiral in the marine headquarters of Mariajoy. Mariajoy by Vlad's ability to use the target fruit. I thought it was quite interesting. After finally coming to Mariajoy, of course, I can't do nothing. Originally, Kaido wanted to do a good job of sabotage here. It's better to kill a few Tenryubito. Those disgusting guys are really bad, and it would be better if they could get some secrets from the government. But unfortunately, I only had time to destroy some buildings and kill some trash fish, and it was stopped. It was a very unfortunate thing. It should have been assigned missions all over the world. The Marine 3 Admiral who stabilized Marine were all in Mariajoy. Such a lineup, even Kaido couldn't stop, and the 3 of them joined forces to smash the hammer. Of course, with the resilience of Kaido's monster level, all the 3 Admiral could do was to smash him, and in the end, they could only stand by. Watching Kaido jump off the red soil continent and plunge directly into the sea. From Mariajoy, Kaido did not have a pointer on his body and could not tell the direction. He could only swim around, and then finally swam to this island. Kaido of the Beasts began his survival on the desert island. Then, today, newspapers fell from the sky to disrupt his peaceful life. Fire Dragon. He actually took what I wanted while I was away. Damn bastard. How cunning. Kaido growled angrily, looking very upset. There is only one thing recorded in today's newspapers, and the whole article is about this thing. That is, just yesterday, the Fire Dragon pirates completely defeated the Whitebeard pirates, took away all the sites of the Whitebeard pirates, and officially established their hegemony in the New World. A monster pirate group that can keep pace with the other 3-4 emperors. Of course, this incident will make Kaido and her angry, and there is no reason not to be angry. The territory of the Whitebeard pirates was his favorite, and now it was taken away by the Fire Dragon. Does Kaido have a reason not to be angry? In particular, the Fire Dragon's victory over the Whitebeard pirates was based on the circumstance that he was directly sent out of the battlefield. If Kaido can accumulate rage, it's probably over the top by now. Boss. Ha ha ha, I finally found you. Some tattered huge pirate ships sailed towards the shore by the wind and waves. On the bow, a man named Jin laughed loudly. He didn't care about the fiasco he encountered before. The beast pirates had already arrived. Welcome their king. Of course, as long as the boss of Kaido is still there, the beast pirates will be the strongest pirate ship. It's finally here. Kaido stood up, ignoring the scorched roasted pig, bent his legs, shot into the sky like a missile, then crossed a graceful parabola and landed heavily on the huge pirate ship in the distance. Superior. Boom. The solid deck was blasted out of a huge cave. Kaido's body disappeared in the cave, and huge waves surged instantly. Boss. Big ship. Because of Kaido's airborne hadn't ended yet, Jin had walked to the edge of the cave with a smile on his face. Haha, I finally found you. Gold. Flash of shadows. Kaido's huge body has already landed on the deck. I have been waiting for a long time. Ha ha ha, no way, boss. Jin explained, I was beaten badly by the Fire Dragon and the Whitebeard pirates, and that guy Quinn was killed directly. Cut, are you dead? Kaido scolded disdainfully, trash. Forget it, get ready. Kaido opened his mouth and said, Jin, I'm going to tear up that bastard kid from the Fire Dragon. Hey, do you want to fight again? Kim grinned, that's great. Blue blue blue. Quote. Suddenly, some deep voices rang out. Well. Kaido frowned. What? Jin seemed to have thought of something, and hurriedly took out a phone bug from his pocket. It's that woman Charlotte Linlin. Boss, there have been several calls already. Charlotte Linlin. Kaido frowned. What is this old woman doing for me? Click. Picked up the phone bug, and before Kaido could speak, Charlotte Linlin's angry roar came from the other side of the phone. Kaido, that brat Vlad is my mother's prey. You give me some peace of mind. I repeat, Kaido. The huge voice spread on the deck. Charlotte Linlin's voice was like a witch's, stern and infiltrating. Vlad, that kid is my mother's prey. You should keep my mother away from him. Amount. Kaido was scolded by Charlotte Linlin for a while, and then, in an instant, an extremely angry expression appeared on his face. Are you talking to Lao Su? Charlotte Linlin. The fire dragon, that brat. I'm done. If you're not convinced, come on. It doesn't matter if I kill you before I kill that brat. The tone is still as big as ever. Charlotte Linlin's voice is also full of anger. Similar to what happened to Kaido, she was also well sucked by Vlad. The cake tactics used by the extremely despicable Vlad were very effective. Charlotte Linlin was teased by him for a long time. The fleet was dismantled by herself, and the battle had come to an end before it even started. It was a very bleak result. Kaido, didn't you play enough last time? So to speak. Even though the opposite is an old man from many years ago, Kaido's tone is not polite at all, full of anger. Linlin. That damn brat is also your child. I know your anger very well, however, you will be angry, can't Lao Su not? Come on if you have the guts. It doesn't matter if you kill him before you kill him. It's arrogant and outrageous. Kaido. The location is Cake Island, the center of IWC, the palace where Charlotte Linlin is located. The queen of IWC holds a phone bug in her hand, and the expression on her face is very ferocious. Do you really want to rob me? This is what I want to say. Kaido's voice echoed in the palace. Linlin. Stay away from the fire dragon. That damn brat is Lao Su's prey. Lao Su will tear him apart with his own hands. Okay, Kaido, okay. Charlotte Linlin's anger subsided a little. So, do you remember? You owe the old lady a big favor. What? The other end of the phone, Kaido's voice was a little hesitant. That was so many years ago. Don't try to deny it. Kaido. Charlotte Linlin's voice was full of smugness. Admit it. For you, that's a lifetime love. Cut. Kaido's voice was full of unwillingness. Linlin, you bastard. Vlad, the kid's life is mine. Charlotte Linlin exclaimed triumphantly. Kaido. Don't shoot him. That bastard is the target of my mother. Try it if you can. Charlotte Linlin. This is the one and only time. Remember it for me. Click. He immediately hung up the phone, without any hesitation. Kaido was annoyed. Chapter 641 of the Deterrence of the Pirate Flag. Mom. Charlotte Linlin threw away the phone bug, looking very proud. This time, no one can rob the old lady. Mom, is this really a good idea? Suddenly, the man sitting on the sofa not far away said, and the man named Charlotte Katakuri said solemnly, let Kaido and Vlad consume each other's people, and then we go and enjoy the success. This is a better way, right? Well. Charlotte Linlin bowed her head with a grim expression on her face. Katakuri, are you doubting the old lady? No, mother. Katakuri shook his head. I'm just thinking there's a better way. Don't think that you are the son of the old lady and you can point fingers at the old lady. Charlotte Linlin said loudly, that kid Vlad is my mother's prey. No one wants to interfere. Yes, mother. Katakuri nodded. He finally realized that the mother he had always respected the most was not omnipotent, nor was he omnipotent. Ben, who clearly did not make mistakes, but was still lying on the bed, was the best example. Eben. Katakuri frowned, hoping Galette would take good care of him. But, mother. Katakuri said solemnly, now is not the time to crusade against Vlad. Our losses in the previous battle were too great, and many of our younger brothers and sisters are still lying in hospital beds. What? Katakuri. The aunt said loudly, are you saying that without your help, I can't do anything about that kid Vlad? Mom, stop being self-willed. Katakuri exclaimed, Vlad boy, now is the new emperor. How can you defeat him without concentrating all your strength? Maybe. Katakuri whispered, we can join forces with Kaido. Don't think about it. Charlotte Linlin said loudly, that bad boy is my mother's enemy. No one else wants to get involved. My mother will take all his life away by himself. Then, mother. Katakuri bowed his head, then just wait. Right now, our strength is not enough. Damn. Charlotte Linlin growled angrily, Vlad. Call. Katakuri breathed a sigh of relief, but his mind was full of thoughts. Vlad has already defeated the Big Mom pirates, the Beasts pirates, and the Whitebeard pirates, and took away the Whitebeard pirates' territory. It is already the real four Emperor pirates. How strong are they? Katakuri is very clear that he is definitely a strong opponent who has the strength and the Big Mom pirates to come to the death. And after the Big Mom pirates recover their vitality, the Fire Dragon pirates should almost have gathered a huge force. In the world of pirates, as long as they show their strong strength, there will be a bunch of pirates coming. Attachment. It is conceivable that the power of the Fire Dragon pirates will definitely expand rapidly in a short period of time, and it will be even more difficult to defeat them at that time. Katakuri knows this very well, but there is no way. It is even more impossible for the battered Big Mom pirates to defeat the Fire Dragon pirates. Alas. The highest masterpiece of the Charlotte family couldn't help but sighed. That kid is already strong enough to have a deterrent effect on the four emperors just by virtue of his name. On this day, the white news bird flew all over the world, spreading the news that the Fire Dragon pirates defeated the Whitebeard pirates all over the world, seized the hegemony of the Whitebeard pirates, seized the territory of the Whitebeard pirates. The Fire Dragon, the flag of the pirates, has truly been flying over the waters of the New World. It's over already. The man with white hair was sitting on a tree stump, holding a newspaper in his hand, with a faint smile on his face. What an amazing young man, he has reached this point in such a short period of time. Quote. Has the Whitebeard pirates been defeated? Ha ha ha, it seems that our era has indeed passed. Hey, Rayleigh. The distance, a certain man said loudly, is it time to eat? It's very early. With a scar on his left eye, glasses on his face, nicknamed Hades, the left and right hands of One Piece, king of pirates, Silba's Rayleigh laughed, Luffy, keep training. Also. Rayleigh had the newspaper in his hand. It's very early. The island of White Soil, Baldigo, the Revolutionary Army Station. Well, I was completely defeated by Mr. Vlad. The coast, a man named Sabo held a newspaper in his hand, with a faint smile on his face. Ace, you guy, are you alright? There's absolutely no problem, right? It's just a failure, right? For you, of course there is no problem, right? Also, Luffy, you kid, move faster too. Sabo raised his head and smiled. The opponent is already approaching the throne, so don't stand still, you brat. The position of One Piece, king of pirates, the competitors also know, there are countless. Powerful, there are as many guys as monsters. Ha ha ha, the road to the throne is not so smooth. Quote. Really, Sabo-kun, let's go. In the distance, a crisp girl's voice came over. You're on a mission right now, what are you doing there? Sorry. Sabo stood up and pressed the newspaper with a stone. I'm going to Revolutionary Base, haha, it's just a spark. Era, as expected. Of course the Whitebeard pirates are no match for the Fire Dragon. On the huge warship, a lazy man was lying on the reclining chair, holding a newspaper in his hand, with a distressed expression on his face. This time, the status of the Fire Dragon's Emperor is really established. Kuzan, you boy, is this still the time to say such things? Next to him, the old man who was sitting on the ground eating senbei gulps said loudly, you guys are making too much noise. No way, Mr. Garp, that fellow Akainu. Kuzan put the paper aside and laughed, want me to approve of him? Hey, forgive me, I can't do such a thing, but you, Mr. Garp, the Gorosei 5 elders didn't tell you to go back to East Blue. Retirement. Cut, who cares about them? Old man, Marine's hero, Monkey Garp scornfully said, but, Kuzan, is this really the only way? I am sorry, Mr. Garp. Kuzan stood up, Justice, it's a one-way street. Ahead, an island named Punk Hazard has appeared above the sea level. Dash 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 dash. Whitebeard's territory, who had lost their protection because of Whitebeard's passing, suddenly realized that now they have a new guardian, an equally powerful and equally terrifying guardian. The new monsters had lent them the banner, and the deterrent power of this banner was only now to be shown.